Folks, we are back. We're live, back with our man Steve. You guys know him, you guys love him. Actually, now that I just said that, guys, we've got like 22,000 something subscribers now. A lot of you probably have never seen Steve on the channel if you ever went back and watched the old lives. So Steve, man, go ahead and tell everyone that's new at least who you are, everyone that's seen you before, welcome him back, and we'll get things started.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on again. It's pretty wild. You've got over 22,000 subscribers now, man. The last time I was on with you, I think you had maybe 10, I think less than 10. And the first time I came on, I think you only had a couple thousand. Yeah. So we've been buddies for a while, but it really hasn't been that long, man. You've blown up. So awesome work. You've done great.
Well, it's been fun, man. So like, I know I've been blowing up on like the public space, right? But you've been doing some pretty big things behind the scenes. I mean, look, guys, Steve's got a full-time job too, but who knows? If his Pokemon business keeps going this way, maybe that might change in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the plan for me. And I feel like I guess it's not the plan yet. It's not really the goal.
Hold on, we gotta stop you. People are already shouting out the arrow in the chat. Before we get into Pokemon and the business and everything, chat, I think you got to talk about crypto real quick.
Oh, we're already talking about Aerodrome. I'm still in. I'm still buying. I bought more today. So you buy when it's up, you buy when it's down. Very similar approach to what I'm doing with my hustle. I'm not going to call it a business because I don't think, a business is something that you can sell and walk away from. Right now, it's all me. So it's not really a business, but the hustle, same thing. When the market's up, I buy. When the market's down, I buy. So yeah, I'm still buying.
I remember you got wrecked in the comments in the chat first time you talked about that. Remember, people call it like a. And now, I mean, just like I know you. I mean, I'm not gonna talk numbers or whatever. It's all your private stuff, but you've done extremely well. We'll say that.
Yeah, there's money to be made everywhere, and there's still a lot of opportunity. So my general
without saying like dollars, like what price were you buying in at originally?
I mean, I was buying it at 40 cents. I was buying it at $2. I mean, it's a dollar cost average. It's really as you buy up, you buy down. Like I'm just positioning my portfolio, not just in crypto, but my entire portfolio for what I think we're moving into. So,
gotcha. Yeah, we do have a really I would say pro crypto administration coming in, which is good.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing. That's for sure. But I guess to get back to the 10,000 plus people who probably have no idea who I am. Really just a guy who was buying boxes of Pokemon cards around Pokemon Go is when I got back in and built a pretty sizable position in sealed boxes, really just collected sealed product. Wasn't super big into slabs, had a few higher end vintage slabs, but mostly just XY, Sun and Moon era, some sealed video games, just buying things that I liked, recognized some opportunities and sold the majority of that position off in 2023. And after I never got totally out, but I was getting like, I just moved into a house. I was a little kind of like a lot of people were. I kind of bought into the fear that was around the market sentiment at the time, sold off a lot of my position. And then I decided to re-enter in a more of a strategic way. I was like, hey, I'm going to put X amount of money into this. I'm going to get a reseller's permit. I'm going to do all the right things and make this legitimate, create an LLC and see what I can turn it into. So I started that in September of 2023. And so, it's been just over a year that I've been back in a more calculated way, but at a pretty small scale, much smaller than I was in.
Well, since you went through the same thing I went through with selling into the 2021 boom, we both sold most everything we own in Pokemon. What kind of similarities are you seeing now?
I mean, dude, it's insane. It's crazy, man. So I was on the phone with Alex the other day and I was duck hunting and I was in the swamp. I hear my phone ring. I pull it out and it's like a case of Twilight Masquerade sold. And I was like, Paldea Evolve sold. And I'm like, damn it, dude, I forgot I had that thing listed. And I was like, shit, I actually have 2 listed. I need to go in and take this other thing off. But like I'm in the swamp, like I'll do it later. 15 minutes later, still in the swamp, get another ping, the other case sold. And I think I had them listed at like 9 $989, like just under $1,000 for a case. And that was last weekend. And now it's up now it's what, $1,200? Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's just weird. It's weird.
I remember I used to tell stories about, during the 2021 boom, how you would order a case of I remember ordering I forget what I was ordering. I mean, I remember Burning Shadows was one of the sets, Unified Minds. You would order these cases back in 2020, 2021. And by the time they would get shipped to your house, you'd be up 15% on your investment. And this is the same thing's happening now, almost worse now. It's by the time you buy the product, it gets shipped to your house, you're up 10, 15, 20%. And it's just, I never thought we would see those times again.
Yeah, it's really caught everybody by surprise. It's not my favorite environment to be in. It's a great environment to be in if you're trying to get out and you have a large position. But that's not really where I feel like most people are at. You sell into strength, but at the same time, there's not a lot of people selling into the strength because everybody's still trying to build. Right. There's a lot of, I think most people, at least that I've kept up with, everybody's kind of building right now. There's not people trying to run away.
The biggest problem, I just had a conversation with another person today about this on the phone, is the biggest problem about these markets is, right, nobody wants to sell before things hit the top, right? Everyone wants to hold. The problem is once we do hit that top and no one knows when that's going to be, and it does start to the roller coaster goes over the hill and starts going down, it becomes extremely hard to sell. Because right now you can kind of be relaxed, make really strategic moves, sit on high price points and just let it sit, wait for someone to eventually come and buy it. When the train starts going down, that's where, things become less liquid. There's price competition down. It becomes a lot harder to move out of those items. And so sometimes when it's like this, it can be time to start taking some of those profits that you've been thinking about taking.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I am doing that with some sets. It's getting hard to look at surging sparks and not be like, dude, I'm pretty okay with selling it. Is it going to go higher? Honestly, probably. And then they reprint it, and then what? It goes down for a bit for a very short period of time, and you probably don't get the quantity that you want. That's the problem, right? That I feel like that is the dilemma that everybody's in who's got larger positions, is they're looking at everything I'm looking at, and they're like, dude, $300 for surging sparks. Why would I not 200% my money in 2 months? That's a reasonable thing for everybody to do, or at least consider. But we're all thinking the same thing. We're like, well, we know if a reprint comes, distribution has changed. We're not going to get it for $89 a box. We're not going to get it for $95 a box. Probably not going to get it for under $120 a box if it goes to $300. And then they do announce a reprint, right? It'll probably go down to $180, and they'll offer you one box if you buy a bunch of other shit. So
yeah, I mean, distributors aren't giving it out easy. Even distribution programs like you and I are both in with Pokemart USA. Very hard to get allocated very many boxes unless you're spending 6 figures in a 6-month rolling period. Even Rudy's telling people, Rudy Alpha Investments isn't getting enough to give to his Patreons. He's given one case or a few boxes. There's just no product to go around because too many people want it. And I honestly don't know. I don't know if Pokemon's printing less or if it's just the same amount with more demand. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like there's just no product to go around anymore.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's got to be a mix of all of these things, right, to some extent. Is distribution catching on to the game? Are they more willing to hold back on releasing product to their suppliers? That Paldea evolved reprint that we got was not a reprint.
Nope.
It was a restock. I bought
Stadium Flames
cases. I bought 12 cases on that restock, and every single one of them said, don't release by October 24, whatever it said, right? That. So to me, somebody is sitting on that product, I would think. So I think maybe the distributors are playing the game too, is probably another piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows what the rules are, how the contracts read. I don't know. I've never got that deep into it, or I don't know anyone deep enough in the distribution, channels that has ever really came out and said what the actual contracts stipulate between Pokemon and the distributors. I don't know. Maybe that's loud. Maybe you only have to sell a certain amount of it. Maybe it's a percentage. You have to sell at least 80% of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing that really matters is the market is telling us what the price is right now, and it could be inflated. We could see a little bit of a cool down. But like right now, today, if you want to go buy a sealed case, you can. You're just going to pay more.
Rudy's Basement 199. Thanks for the super chat, man. Stay the course. Money Machine go burr. That's all. That's true, man. I do want to take this question because I want to hear how you respond to it too. Because Pokey Vibes asked it a couple times. Can you explain the difference between scalping and running a business? I got 2 cases pre-order for Journey Together, and I'm being labeled as that. Am I wrong? Am I in the wrong?
I mean, it's so again to me. I said it early. I said it at the beginning of the stream. What I'm doing is not really a business in my mind because I can't sell what I'm doing, and if I walk away, this stops. Right? Like it's not scalable. So I'm really more. I'm into a hustle. And I feel like that's really what scalping is as well, right? So you're talking about a hustle versus running a business. A business is something that you can sell, something that's scalable, something that you can teach somebody else how to do and walk away from it. That's going to Target and buying something for $50 and throwing it on eBay is not a business.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pokey Vibes, I feel like people just need to put labels on things as a way to like divide and a way to almost place the blame on somebody for things being expensive, and it's very easy to place a blame on people that are making money in the hobby, or especially people who have product when you don't. I think a lot of people agree that the people doing the big swoop on the Target and Walmart shelves, or the people clearing out the Costco pallets and piling their carts up to the ceiling. I think most people could agree that's kind of effed up. So like you could, if you want to label someone scalpers, that could be it. But I think a business, like even though it's a reselling business, I think it's still a business. Like a business, I would say, is someone that can find opportunity in any market, right? People that were here and they can find grading plays and singles, steel product, whatever it is, and make a profit on it, whether the market's up, market's down, low demand, high demand. I think when the demand's like this, businesses can do better because they establish themselves. But, the businesses are going to be here long after this hype and long after you can buy a product that, right when it releases and make a profit. Because, me and Steve were both here when Scarlet Violet Base came out, Paldea Evolve came out, and they were $80 and $90. And you literally, there was negative margin between the distributor and the store, meaning the stores could not sell them for a profit. But a lot of all the stores stayed in business. How they do that? They have other avenues of revenue, that they know how to run a business. And I think that's really what it is. Whereas like a lot of people here that for the opportunity, the opportunists, just trying to make a quick flip on whatever sealed product gets released because the demand's so high. I think that's the biggest difference.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think that's fair. So what I do, my real work, I have a lot of exposure to people who run really legitimate actual businesses, and it's very impressive to watch. So then when I come back here into my little hole, I'm like, yeah, this isn't a business. This is just me messing around. I'm having a good time with it. I'm making some money doing it. But
it's funny you say that. I'm really interested. It may have already happened, by the way, but I'm really interested if anyone we know, like anyone that I personally know or know about, ends up selling like their quote unquote business someday. I would love to know if what people like outside money or investors or like venture capital, I wonder what they value something like this as, because it does, if you do a real amount of revenue and you can show a consistent profit margin, you can show consistent like processes into how that money is made every year. I don't know. It kind of sounds like it could be a valuable business to me. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's tough. Like if you look at maybe a content creator, you say, well, there's so much value on the face, right? Like the voice, the face, what you've given people. It'd be hard to say like, I'm going to buy your YouTube channel tomorrow, Alex.
And I've seen people fail at that, by the way.
Yes, exactly. But if you owned, let's say, a rip and ship business where you just had streamers and you had, an office building with 6 cubbies, and you had, that to me is what you could sell is something that you've got employees that bring value to other people. It's scalable. So
this is let's cause some trouble. Let's cause some drama. Since I know Brian, I know it's not going to actually get him mad at me, but I disagree with this. I disagree. Pokey and he talked about this in a video. He said his business is him. I don't know what context he said that. I'm going to tell Brian he's wrong on that. Like, I think that's dead wrong if he really said that. Like, because I could literally go over to Brian Pokey and his house, and I could probably stay there for 2 weeks to a month. and I could have him show me all the ins and outs of how his entire business operates, and I could operate that business. Maybe I don't operate as well as him. That's all in the operator, but he could show me how to consistently make his business run. He could show me how to order the product, the listing, all the ads and all the advertising he does, how he blasts out the emails, his shipping processes, everything that goes into it. And that income stream, that profit, that could be, given to pretty much anyone who had the money to buy it. So I think there's something a lot more valuable. Like the content, yeah, that's all me, that's all him. The content side's off limits. That's really hard to duplicate. But if you have a business like that where you're moving that amount of sealed product, or like you said, a rip and ship stream where it can be easily duplicated, it's just like plug and play the person on screen, especially if it's like Whatnot or TikTok or one of these platforms where there's no face cam, it's literally just the hands. I think those are very legitimate businesses.
For sure. They're certainly out there. I was watching a video of a card shop that they have a full-time employee who sits in the back on a playmat with an LED light bulb above him. And he was like, yeah, I pre-grade around 5,000 cards a day. And I'm like, dude, so these guys are paying him probably $15 an hour just to do that. And it's like, if you could trust somebody with, a very expensive piece of cardboard, and you could get somebody to pre-grade, and then you could just be a machine and you could just be working on sourcing. There'd be a massive opportunity. And I feel like we'll see more commercialization, maybe not like on a super large scale, but we'll start seeing like some really sharp kids that are like ballsy and have some cash. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. I'll put a couple $1 million into something like this. And they'll start doing that.
Yeah, I'm interested when the money starts coming in. Honestly, that's been one of my, I don't know, I wouldn't say main one of my smaller objectives, that I have with the channel. I constantly try to bring people from the outside world into Pokemon, in the finance and business world. I consistently try to have guests from outside just the hobby. Because here's my thinking, right? Maybe everyone wants to hear all the same people talk about the same stuff, but every other content creator in the hobby that has a channel, you can go to their channel and hear their thoughts, their opinions, and everything they do every day or every week. They talk about it every time. It's I don't need to bring those people on my channel again and again and again to hear the same thing you're gonna hear on their channel. I want to consistently bring out in outside perspectives, outside influence, because that way I think it helps grow the hobby, horizontally when instead of just growing everybody up more vertically. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. I like the collaborations. I think it's a great idea. People obviously enjoy it. It's Friday at 4:00 and there's 400 something people sitting here listening to two grown dudes.
400. Oh, we gotta get those numbers up, guys. Pump those up. Let's get to the 500 and 600s. We got Steve here today.
Yeah, man. Alex, I'm telling you, dude, you've really blown up. This is awesome. It's cool, man.
Dude, everyone just wants to hang out and have fun and make money in childhood cardboard.
I'm here for it too.
So what's up, dude? Let's get into the nitty gritty. How is the business doing overall? So 2024 was officially your first, January 1st to December 31st, full year in business. How'd things end up?
Pretty positive. So to I don't think, did I tell the audience how much I put in the business?
I don't know, but go ahead and do it again if you did.
So just to full transparency, and this is not an impressive operation. This is not holy shit. This is, I feel like this is potentially interesting to a lot of you guys because it's a reasonable amount of money to come up with, but it's not a small amount of money, so you can actually do something with it. So for me, that number that I felt comfortable with to actually try this in in what my mind would be the best shot, I'm going to really give it a good go, was $20,000. So I started the business with 20 grand in September of 23 and really just worked on the back end, just making sure I kind of understood, got an accountant lined up, things like that. And then really went in on January 1st. So that's when I really started. I wanted a clean year for the taxes. So you mind if I pull this up?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you hit present and share screen, I can pull it up. You see it?
I do. Can you guys see this screen?
They won't be able to see it till I get it on my end.
Perfect.
Getting into the numbers, guys.
Okay. Can you see this, Alex?
No. So down at the bottom, like do you see where it says present?
Yeah.
Okay, hit that, and then it says share screen, and then just click on it all the way to the right. It'll say entire screen, and then it just click on the screen you want to share.
Yeah.
There it is. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we got a presentation.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and I made this as short as I could. I actually wanted to make this a little more detailed and break this down really well, but I ended up having kind of a Monday of a Friday. And
now are we hold on. Let me I'm gonna put it back up screen in a second. Guys, one of the things that, and we've talked about this before on the channel, but we talked about before we got on, is one of the things me and Steve both hate about all the online, hoopla, not just in Pokemon, it's really every business space. Everyone just focuses on sales. And guys, this is not a trash talk about anyone out there. Don't take it that way. But sales does not tell the whole story. And that's for any business. Look, if you go to any sales job, right? The people who sell the most don't always make the most, which is crazy because it matters how much you're grossing. It matters how much your profit margins are, how much you're, able to sell at a markup compared to other people just giving everything away at bottom dollar just to get their total volume up. And so when it comes to sales, I've said it a bunch of times, you could have someone selling $100,000 and another person selling $200,000, and the guy selling 100 could actually make more. What if the guy selling $100,000 has a 50% margin and the guy selling $200,000 has only like a 15% margin? You see what I mean? So the point when it comes to sales is don't get too mesmerized by big sales numbers. I don't care if someone's doing $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. What are they spending to get those sales? What are their margins? How much product are they moving? Are they advertising? Like there's a million different things that can go into that. And so like, that's one of the things that we kind of wanted to focus on today is understanding like profit margins and what, total sales broken down actually looks like. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is, and to me, this is not as, let's just jump into it, dude. Let me share this and just walk.
I got you. You're up. You're up and running.
Cool. So this is the name of the LLC. Again, I put $20,000 in this in September of 2023. So 2024 was the first real year of like, okay, how much money can I make? How much wealth can I create in the business? And my goal, by the way, is not a cash return necessarily. I'm not sitting here trying to pull money out of this business. I'm not trying to use this money to go take a vacation, to go buy a motorcycle, go buy a new gun. Like this money stays in the business. Like it's a rebreather.
Which, by the way, if you guys caught the live stream we did earlier this week on Monday with Rob RNG Games, he said the same thing. Like if you're trying to start a business, you can't be pulling money out, especially in that first year or two.
Yeah. And depending on how much money you put into it as well, I wanted this to, like, one of the reasons I use 20,000, it's like very easy number for me to remember. Like it'll be very easy to see if I've got $21,000 in my bank account at the end of the year. It's like, okay, I know how much I made. But 20 grand is not a lot of money in the scheme of business, but it could be a lot of money depending on where you are in your life. It was a healthy number for me. That was like, okay, I can do enough and make an impactful, I think I could run, relatively impactful eBay store with this. And by the way, this is totally off eBay. So this is no FaceTime outside of, this is my third time on with you, Alex, but like, I don't have social media. I don't advertise. I don't do anything, and I don't plan to. Like, this is a very, I mean, dude, if I was willing to put in the effort on getting on my face and my name out there, I feel like this would be a totally different conversation. But my goal with this eBay store is I alluded to being in the marsh when my eBay was going off. Like that's what is really important to me. I want to be able to go in the woods. I want to go fishing. I want to do the things I want to do and be able to make money while I'm doing it. So having an eBay store is pretty low stakes.
Brad gave us $10 because we like guns and motorcycles.
So is that my $10? Or do you like guns and motorcycles too?
I owe Steve lunch next time we see him.
All right, so we'll jump into this. I just took this is like a 7-page presentation. I'm not going to kill you guys, but this is just an honest breakdown of like what this eBay store did in 2024. So you can go pull it up if you'd like to, kind of fact check some of this stuff and make sure that at least the name matches up. But $90,000 in sales, and you can see a decrease from the prior time period. That comes from the majority of my collection being sold off in 2023 before there was a business. So there's really, the baseline really are these numbers. I'm not really concerned with all of the versus prior time periods. Those metrics aren't really applicable. So off of that $20,000 seed, had $90,000 in sales, $66,000 in net sales. You can see the quantity of items that were sold, the average ticket price, sales via auction versus fixed. Nothing groundbreaking. I'm sure 90% of this chat is familiar with this page. Here's a little breakdown. You can really see at the end of the year, just kind of the trending in the right direction, and then this line again is from 2023. So you can see where I just had an auction block where I just sold off a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So ignore that. But this is from really midsummer. This is trending in the direction that I'd like to see it. $90,000. I thought this was an interesting slide, not really related to the sales directly, but also it's a big deal because I feel like what Pokey or Rudy or you or anybody who's public outward facing, a big value add and a big piece of what you guys do is put yourself out there and you really build your brand, right? Like there is zero loyalty on eBay. People are buying the best condition card at the lowest price, right? Like that's really, and when it comes to sealed product, it's only the lowest price. Like people don't really care. I don't care.
5.7% is low, man.
Yeah, man. So this is like really just muscling through eBay. This is not me putting business cards in packages. This is not me trying to re-engage with buyers and offer them coupons and deals. Like this is like, hey man, my eBay store has cards and things listed on it at a price. Buy it now, no offers. You can buy it or you can go on to the next. I really don't care. So this is like I felt like this was a pretty interesting insight to me. It's like, dude, no loyalty. I have no customers really. It's just the open internet.
TK Magic Shop, really appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you, man.
Okay, so here's the real breakdown of net sales for 24. Private sales, just like things I did through PayPal, not much. I actually only had 2 of those. One was with Alex, and one was with a guy over in the UK. But I did want to include that in here. So, and then the eBay net sales.
Alex will be needing many more of those this year.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man. You're just destroying this live stream game. So the rip and ships. So these are total net sales for the year, 72,000. So here's where it gets interesting. This is where you guys are going to be like, so what's the point? So this is the cost. This is the cost of me doing business this year. 23 grand in singles, 3 grand in material supplies, rubber bands, shipping labels, shit like that. Through distribution or other partners, 12.5 grand. So that would be just like new product. And then same thing with sealed acquisition through retail channels. I wanted to differentiate those two because I feel like there's a lot of like people, maybe there's a perception that I didn't want people to think like, oh, well, this guy's got a leg up in some capacity. I really don't. Distribution partners, like I actually bought more sealed product this year just on eBay and Hills Wholesale Gaming and Safari Zone, something that anybody can do. So I didn't want to break those two out, but essentially those two, distribution and partners and sealed acquisition through retail, 30 grand in sealed product, and then about 16 grand in grading fees. So all in all, it cost me just shy of 70 grand was my cost of doing business. Like that was my total expenses for the year. So what does that leave me? Not very much, right? So
what about the inventory though?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. So this is why I feel like this is what's really exciting to me. So again, I'm not concerned about the cash. And also, well, this is perfect. This was by design. So I'm going to owe the IRS $600 or something like that. But here's where it gets really sexy. So if you go on my store today, my eBay store has over $23,000 of active listings, not including any duplicates. And I have a shit ton of duplicates. I will buy 25, 50 copies of a card. And if they're graded misses, I'll throw them back on my store and I list it one at a time. I do not do bulk. I just don't. I don't do TCG Player. This is only through eBay. Do
you at least like do you give like discounts if they buy more, like buy one or buy two, get this, buy three, get that, buy four, get that? That you do that?
I do. That's pretty much the only kind of discount or wheeling and dealing, I do it at all. Like I don't do anything besides that, but I will offer volume discounts because it just makes sense. So my eBay store currently has 23 grand. And remember, the number that we started the business with was $20,000. So just by going on my eBay, I'm like, well, I know I'm profitable, but the sealed inventory that I bought over the year at current market price is worth almost 27 grand. I just spent $1,700 in supplies right before the new year. I'm just trying to get that spread between my income and my expenses, just trying to tighten that up. So I put that on here, $7,600 in cash, almost $1,000 waiting to be paid out next Tuesday on eBay, $3,300 on a credit card. And at the bottom, you can see my total assets, including my cash, where the business sits. So one full year, the first year, and a full year with a $20,000 seed, the business now has $49,000 worth of equity.
All right. So first, Sean, I really appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you. And then also I wanted to shout out Pokey Vibes, Pokemon Crypto, LFG. Thank you for the content. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for the super chat, guys. So Steve, this number does not include the $3 grand or so you made profit either, right?
It does. Yeah.
Oh,
So this number is like my total cash equivalents and inventory that I have.
But then you also made the $3 grand profit.
Well, yes.
So basically you made over $52,000.
Would that be included in here?
No.
Because no. That's a separate thing.
Yeah, so you've made over $52,000. That means you turned over your inventory 2.5 times and in just 1 year. And that's with no social media presence. That's with, very limited connections, just what you've made, no big time connections, no distributor. This is like the epitome of anyone can do it, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. This is just muscling your way through it. And again, to me, this is not a business. Like this is just grinding and just enjoying it, right? Like,
and you have you got a full-time job.
Yeah, so I have a very demanding full-time job. I travel for work. So very frequently my eBay store says time away. Like I use that probably twice a month where I'm just like, dude, I got, 2 conferences in 2 states this week. Like just turn the store on. Hey, I'm not going to be home. You can buy from my store, but if you buy, I'm not shipping it till next week. And that for sure deters buyers. So I don't really promote a lot of listings. I do promote some singles when I'm just trying to move stuff. But I mean, this is definitely something that anybody can do. And this is a true, honest breakdown of what happened with me for the entire year.
So you don't utilize a lot of promoted listings?
I don't on slabs at all, unless it's like a 1 of 10, like maybe a mid-era Japanese card. It's like, who would ever, there's like 5 people that want it and there's only 5 PSA 10s. So maybe on something like that. And then on like singles that are worth like $10 or less that I have maybe 50 of, then I'll just be like, all right, dude, I just need to start getting rid of these.
Yeah. And people in the chat talking about, pretty sure eBay takes out taxes already, so you don't have to pay IRS taxes at the end of the year. No, they just take out sales tax. So that just, when you have your own website like I do, you have to keep track of like different sales tax nexus laws and like your state sales tax. eBay does that for you. You still have to pay taxes on your profits.
Yes, 100%. Yep. So,
but dude, this is pretty crazy. I mean, how do you feel about this? You have to feel successful with this, right? Or were you expecting more or less?
I am pumped. I really didn't think that I would take 20 grand and then moving into 2025, I would have 50 grand of capital to play with. So, let's draw this out though, right? Like let's do the hypothetical. And as you get bigger, there's probably going to be like with most businesses, like as you scale, the percentage that you can scale is probably going to go down pretty aggressively. But let's just say I could do 150% year over year for the next 3 years. I don't know what the math is on that, but it would be a multi-6-figure business.
I mean, you flipped your inventory over 2 times. So, I mean,
well, I flipped my inventory 4.5 times, but I made 2.5 times cash on cash.
Okay.
Because I put 20 grand in the business and I sold 90 grand on eBay and then 5 grand.
Oh, you're right. It's total sales. My bad. Yeah, my bad. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if you could just have total assets double like you did again, I mean, dude, another year you could be at like 150, and then again after that, maybe like 400 to 500.
And then that's when I would expect it to like slow down pretty drastically. And I feel like the one thing that you could really nitpick here is the sealed inventory value. It's nothing crazy. It's all Scarlet and Violet. There's nothing from Sword and Shield or before. So this is all like current product.
And what's the strategy there?
I mean, it's just an extension. It's just like the business. The business has like two arms. It's like the very active side where it's like I may buy 100 ETBs and buy the case and just break them all down, sell the packs, grade some promos, sell all the bullshit in like a package deal to somebody just to get them out. So like that's the very active side, and then it's also like, well, the inactive side, like I'm not buying sealed inventory so I can open boxes. I don't sit here and open boxes and then pretend I'm an investor. Like that's not the game I play.
Hey, do we need the screen up anymore?
No, I think hold on one sec. Nope, that's it.
One thing I wanted to ask you is, were there any major plays that like really kind of attributed to a good amount of those numbers, or was it just kind of spread across like everything you did, or were there like a few main like kind of like, you know, knock out of the park home run type plays you had throughout the year that accounted for that?
I mean, dude, there's definitely like been some home runs, but it's pretty much been base hits. It's just been like the steady churn of like relatively low cost items at pretty decent margins. Or vice versa, high cost items at lower margins, and just like very consistent. But I did have, like, I thought the Obsidian Flames ETBs were I thought that was like, dude, there's something, people are just not paying attention. Like to me, that Charmander promo is pretty sweet.
We talked about that. You were early to that play.
I was,
and I think my response was, yeah, I think I'm too busy right now for that.
And fair enough, dude. And here's the thing, like where I'm at, and here's another thing that I think is important to talk about, like where my business was at with $20,000, like packing a $5, $6 order is worth my time. It's not worth my.
Oh no, I'm talking about the freaking the Charmander promo you made. You were making more than that on those things.
For sure. But my point is like there are things like as you get more successful, you say no more. Right? Like one of the things you have to do as you grow and are becoming larger, like you have to learn to say no. And a lot of the things that I'm doing right now will not be the things that I am doing in 3 years, assuming I continue to grow at the rate that I'm growing. Right. But like right now, it makes sense to do that small what seems like petty work.
Super impressive. I find, by the way, John and Kyle, dude, thanks for the super chat. I find PSA subs take a while to assemble and send out. What did you do to speed that up?
I mean, dude, there's nothing. It is what it is. Like PSA turnaround times are what they are. Shipping is what it is. Like what you do is you just have to be consistent. Like if the goal is, you know, I'm going to grade 1,000 cards this year, then it's like, okay, I'm going to do an 80 card submission every month. And if you're doing that, if we went back to that graph, you would see like January, February, March, there's like very little sales. But then as soon as April comes around, like you start to see a decent amount of sales, and then it stays like up and to the right all year. Well, you could probably assume that in January, when I was sourcing all those raws, I was submitting them maybe in February. They were at PSA March and coming back in April. And then I was finally listing them. So to answer your question, I don't think there is no cheat code on grading. But if you're consistent and you constantly have submissions at PSA, dude, I would get to where I would have like 2 or 3 submissions that I didn't even have listed because I'm just like, I really don't want to. And there's other stuff I'd rather do right now. But it gets to the point where if you keep submitting to PSA, then you just have that. It's just a.
Yeah, I would say the only cheat code you had this year was he did start in September. So we took the sales for this 1 year, but you know, you had a couple months there to kind of get your backlog going. So that way you could start out the ground running and starting to get those orders back right in January. Whereas if you guys started out like right now, yeah, it would take a couple months for you to start getting things rolling. But if you're sending orders in every 2, 3, 4 weeks, then you're going to have orders coming back after 2-3 months goes by, you're going to have an order coming back every couple of weeks. And so it just takes a minute to get that backlog going is all it is.
100%. I mean, so you just put the legwork in. And like I was saying earlier, right now, that legwork is worth your time if you don't have the money, or you choose not to put the money in the business. So to me, the legwork is worth it. And then at some point when there's more capital in the business, it's like, dude, I'm not going to grade the $10 card that sells for $40 in a PSA 10 because it really isn't worth my time anymore. Now I'm only looking at the $30 to $40+ cards that sell for $100+ in a PSA 10. But there's opportunity across the board.
And then, I think one thing that isn't mentioned enough is we were talking about before stream, but like inventory management. So like with Steve, it's going to be with, slabs and singles. With me, it's going to be with packs. So like, one of the things that, and I have not been good at it because I am going through some growing pains. I'm not going to there's no way to sugarcoat it. I am going through some growing pains, and this, it's a great thing to have, right? Everything's growing, but because of that, I've, ran out of packs. I'm always short supply. And so I've been making some very large purchases. I want to get back to the point where I never sell out. So people always will, they'll message me and they'll say, "Hey, I sold you sold out of your stream." It's like, no, I just take down the inventory. But like my goal is to never sell out of anything. Like I want to end every stream and not have one thing say sold out. And every time I get down to like a couple hundred packs of a set, I go to the market, buy more, and replenish it to where I always have every set in stock for anyone that wants to open those sets. Because I feel like that's kind of one of the things that like some streamers maybe don't, I don't know, don't do that well. It's always just kind of like what they have that week, where I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be having everything all the time. And with you, we talked about it with the cards. It's like, I think too many people, they'll sell through their submission and just move on to a new play and a new play and a new play, where it's like, dude, there's nothing wrong with doing the exact same play a million times and just always having those cards in stock.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big piece of what I did this year was I would buy the AR Japanese cards for 151, the Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, all the AR cards for the set. I mean, those are all amazing cards, and Japanese is less liquid than English, but it's also a little bit better print quality, and there's margin to be made. And like, that's one of many, many, many examples. And I mean, there's a ton of opportunity out there. I feel like that's probably what people just, and here's the thing. If you say like, "Hey, I have $500, how do I do this?" It's like, well, you're probably going to turn $500 into $520. And you're going to be like, "Well, that wasn't worth my time." And it's like, no, it's not. But if you could do that 7 times throughout the year, now it's $700. And it's like, well, it was only $200. And it's like, yeah, but that was 40%. So there's a thing here. That was why 20,000 felt like a good number for me to try this with.
Especially not having a physical location. Like, start a physical location. We were talking with Rob RNG Games on Monday, like, talking like probably 50 to 100 grand. And yeah, that's probably right for a physical shop. But if you're working out your home, your only expense is shipping materials and product. That's it. It's like, and it's just a lot easier to start out with, I would say, that amount of money. You don't even need that much. You can start with 10 grand or 5 grand. I mean, it depends on how fast you want to grow and what you have liquid. But Pokemon Wonder, man, thank you for the gifted memberships. I appreciate that. Anyone that got one of those, make sure you thank him. But yeah, man, I mean, I remember when you were telling me about this at the end of last year, or end of 2023, like really wanting to do this seriously. And it's pretty crazy to see you almost hit 100K your first year. And I mean, you're not full time. You're like, I don't know. How many hours do you think you have to dedicate to this a week if you had to guess?
I mean, it's probably still a lot of hours a week, to be honest, but I enjoy it. And I don't have the pressure of like, hey man, I got to pay my bills. I've got debt. I've got all this stuff. It's like, well, I mean, that like all of my stuff is covered through my stressful job. And then this is like something I enjoy doing. So I probably do put in quite a bit of time. I would say 20+ hours a week easily. Even if it's just, if you consider like, go to the bathroom at a restaurant and just pull up eBay real quick and check and see if there's any good listings. Something like just throughout the day, you add all those small interactions up, it's probably still 20+ hours a week.
Which is one of the things that I've always been critical of since day one. And, I used to get in some debates with people, but then, they always hit me with the one phrase is, well, it's a hobby for me. or I'm a collector. I enjoy this. And it's like, you can't debate that. After someone says that, I shut down. I say, you're right. My bad. Because there's no way to, but like anyone who's doing this and you're trying to do this as a business, or you're convincing yourself you're doing this as a side income, you have to take all that into account. You have to value your time. If you're not going to value your time, then, I mean, what are we doing here? It's just like, I guess you have nothing else you want to do with your time in life. You just want to run this business 24/7. Otherwise, I mean, I think you have to at least break down how much you're putting towards this and what your return is.
Yeah. And I think for me, I don't disagree with you, but for me, like there is like a level of, hey man, it's year one. Like you just need to make it work. Like this year, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work harder in 24 than I did in 25, I would think. And that's most businesses. You've got to muscle through and take those risks early on and really push.
You always work harder when you're making less.
Exactly.
It's almost like a job, right? Like the people at the low end of the totem pole, they're doing the hardest work. They're making the least. The CEO, he's making some tough decisions, but probably not working too much.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So,
Jonathan, thank you for the gifted memberships, dude. Really appreciate you. Everyone, thank Jonathan if you got one of those.
So how do these things work? Is that like a monthly subscription thing?
Dude, they're just for fun. It's like 99 cents for a membership. You get some emojis to use. You get a little Pokeball after your name. It's nothing crazy. It's just it's support the channel. It's everyone who just wants to show some love.
Nice. And
show
how
some
long
love,
last
brother.
Month? Does it
Yeah.
last a month?
What's that? Oh yeah, once a month.
Nice.
If you can afford 99 cents. Now these guys, we got Pokemon Wonder and Jonathan. They're big spenders. They're giving away 10 or 20. So now we're starting to get to some serious support.
That's cool,
like Kangas Krantz right here. Another 20 memberships. You guys are
That's
wild,
awesome.
guys. Really, dude. I truly appreciate that stuff, man. Thank you so much. It really does make the content, a lot more like I guess rewarding, and gives you that strength to keep pushing on every day.
Yeah, man, that's really cool.
But yeah, man. So let's think about it. So you put 20 grand in. You got, what was it, about 50 grand in inventory. You've made a few grand. So basically, you've made a little over $30,000 profit if you take into consideration everything for the year.
Yep.
So over 100% over 100% profit margins for the year. That's crazy.
For the year, but it was definitely not like the items I sell may only be 20%. I would say that that's probably a pretty accurate guess, is 20 to 25% on across my entire store is probably what I on average make. And then I was able to flip my inventory 4.5 times throughout the year. And that's where that number came from.
Yeah.
Don. But I mean, 20 grand a year for, something I enjoy. I'm pretty excited about that.
Absolutely, man. Don, $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Don. With the insanity of the new products, what are you focusing on? Single sealed? I will buy at MSRP, but not more. What are you focusing on these days?
It's a tough one, man. That's a tough question, but it's hard. It's hard to execute on. But I know the answer is to, again, go back to the beginning of our conversation, was really just you buy when it's up, you buy when it's down, and just hold on longer than everyone else, and you're probably going to come out ahead. Is kind of my philosophy. But I have been sitting on a little more cash, like the seven-ish thousand in cash that you guys saw in my breakdown that I have. I realistically would like to have that deployed right now, because if it's just sitting in cash, it's just not doing anything for me. But if I can go deploy it and I can turn it into 8.5 grand, that's a win. And now I've got 8.5 grand to go roll into something. So that is the challenge. But the short answer is I'm still buying, but I'm buying just not as aggressively as I want to, because I'm really hoping that we'll get some kind of reprints moving over the next few months, or there is more availability of some of these newer sets, and I can deploy that cash on more sealed. But if there's good singles out, which there are, by the way, like that's a buy too. So having some cash on hand to take advantage of those opportunities is not a bad thing either.
Yeah, with me,
I'm buying both.
Yeah, I do a very, I don't give myself too many pats on the back. I do a very good job, I say, of keeping things separate in my business. I really do a good job of keeping my long-term holding separate and my business separate. Anyone that talks to me a lot knows that. And so I can't come to that place yet, because I did get enough Surging Sparks. Prismatic is going to be the only set that I'm getting really shorted. So what I'm probably going to do is take the few prismatic that I'm getting from the distribution program I'm in. I believe I'm getting two cases, two or three cases. I forget. I'm probably going to take those, put them on the shelf. That'll be my investment for now. And then everything else, and I'm getting some from my own distro and some from other pre-orders I've had on other websites. I'm going to take all that, use it as inventory. And then when that sells out, I'm going to go to the open market, or anyone that wants to sell to me, I'm going to buy it, whatever full market price, or 85, 90%. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to continue to use that for the streams. And if reprints come, I can pick more up, but I'm not going to have much. And then when SVO9 comes and the set after that, if these prices are crazy high, I probably won't have much investment in these sets. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to take whatever I get from distributors and the distribution programs I'm in that I'm getting in at the original distro price. I'm going to keep those as investments. And then I'm just going to make very thin margins on everything I buy for the streams. And that's just how it's going to be, because there's really no other better way to go about it. I don't want to sell everything just to like try to make some quick margins on it and have no investment. And I also don't want to buy in at these prices at 150, 160 plus to hold long term, because I think there are bigger possibilities of a downturn in like the next year or so, where I think there could be reprints on these sets and we could see pullbacks. And so that's kind of how I'm handling things. So Don, I'm definitely scaling back, putting large amounts of money into long-term holdings at the current market prices.
And we talked before the stream. I think we talked earlier this week, just about what we're both doing. And, I was very much, 2 years ago, I'd say even a year ago, I was very much in kind of the old school mentality of like, hey man, I'm not buying a new set until it's been in print for at least a year, preferably 2 years, because there's really not a lot of movement.
Let's do it, everybody. Hashtag I'm gonna wait. It's become like a meme in my Discord at this point.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was definitely, but that was a real thing. It was a really good strategy to wait to buy sets for several years, really up until the pandemic. Wait until the sets go out of print to buy. So throughout 2015, 2016, 2017, all the way up until, probably 2020, that was what I was doing. Is I would wait. I would not buy the current stuff. So right now, and if that still applied, I would not be buying anything in Scarlet Violet. I would still be buying Sword and Shield. I had to adjust that, because it's just, that's where we are. And that was not a fun pill to swallow, because I'm like, is this normal? Like, is this real? But it's like, dude, it's pretty obvious.
Well,
again, the market's telling us.
It's real. It's not normal.
Yeah. So it's the new normal, and that's just where we're at. And there will be another change and another shift. And I think you've got to adapt. And I think, Alex, you've done a great job at adapting. I don't think the rip and ships were really something that was really on your radar as being like, yeah, this is going to be insane. And now it's, I would assume, the biggest part of your business.
Yeah, it's just, it was the most natural for me, right? It was because, like, first and foremost, I'm a content creator. I love content. I know a lot of, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but it doesn't feel like a lot of the other business channels really enjoy content as much. And the only reason I say that is I don't see as much coming from a lot of the other investment business channels. It's just kind of like part of what they do, where it's me. I love making content. Like, that's, if I had to pick one thing, that's what I would do. Right. And so it was the most natural, kind of like offshoot for me was to add rip and ships. I'm still on camera. It's still mostly geared towards content. Yeah. There's some, buying inventory and shipping and stuff, attached to it. But that's why I really like it. It was a lot more fun for me than what you're doing, because I did what you're doing for a while and I was successful too. I don't have a breakdown like I could show everyone right now. I'm sure I could make one up, but I never took it as far as Steve, or I saw Retro in the comments, or Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles. I never took it that far, because I figured out real early it's just, that wasn't as fun for me, where I just feel like this is more fun.
Fair enough. And another thing we talked about earlier this week on the phone was like, dude, there's parts of this that I do not enjoy. I'm not a fan of a lot of parts of this, really. But I'll use another hunting analogy. It's like when you go duck hunting, there's like a climax to the hunt, right? The birds come in, you call them, you shoot. That's really it. But that only lasts like 15 seconds. There's like 2 hours. You wake up before daybreak, go freeze your ass off. Then you got a dirty gun that's been rained on. You've got to clean your gun. Like, there's so much shit. Your dog's disgusting. It's getting your truck all gross. You got to come home and clean the birds. You got to clean your shotgun. I mean, it's an all-day thing for like that 15-second climax. But that is this business to me too. It's like getting that sale, realizing like, hey man, all the work is paying off. Like there are just parts that are not enjoyed. This is not like, oh yeah, I'm just having so much fun. I just like to sit here all day and pre-grade cards. Oh, I love having 50 cards of the same thing that I can't sell for $3 on eBay. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's got to be enough. There's got to be like obviously more fun and enjoyment to offset like the sucky parts. I agree. But like, I mean, dude, just for me, I mean, you know, we were talking earlier this year. And I guess it was later last year, whatever. I mean, I didn't like where I was at. I didn't like my job. I mean, I was talking to you about jobs, right? I mean, it's like, I wanted to leave what I was doing. And for me, if I'm going to leave what I'm doing for something else that I don't really enjoy a lot of the aspects of it, it doesn't make sense. It's like, and that's the criticism I get. It's like, well, Alex, it's not all about fun. Your business isn't all about fun. It's like, I get it, but I gotta be enjoying what I'm doing. I gotta be enjoying more of what I'm doing than not, for me to like stay engaged and continue to like build a business doing that. Because I've had multiple businesses. Like, if people don't know, I've built multiple companies. I had a lawn care landscaping company. I had a home cleaning and power washing company. I had another like more landscaping, hardscaping company. And every one of those businesses were extremely successful. Like I've said it before, you can be successful pretty much in any service industry business. If you know how to sell, you know how to market yourself, it's extremely easy to get customers, extremely easy to get jobs. It's just the work sucks, and it's hard to keep employees because the work sucks, and you got to be able to pay them enough to keep them, which is not always able to do. And so that's why I ended up selling every single one of those companies. Is I never had enough things I enjoyed to offset the things I didn't. The money is not going to be enough. And so like that was my main concern, like in this business, is finding a way to structure something that I enjoyed the most aspects of it, so I could do this long term.
Nice. Would you say like content creation is the number one for you in your business?
Absolutely. And that has a lot of different parts to it, right? Like there's other aspects. There's, you know, the Patreon group. There's the you know, obviously like marketing for other companies with promotions and sponsorships, and you know, the content in general. The rip and ships kind of play into the content. Like it's just kind of all, my whole business these days is kind of built around the content, and I enjoy it. Brad, spend that 7K on Ancient Mew to the moon, dude. That was one of your big plays.
That was dude, I was so big into that play. I did that for way before this business. That was my thing. That was the easy, low hanging fruit. I was buying sealed Ancient Mews, not by the case, but 100 at a time, and get 7 or 8 PSA 10s, sell the loose packs, lose a little bit of money. PSA 10s at the time, I was selling them for $300-400. PSA 9s were $60. And I've seen them lately. It's pretty insane. But yeah, that's just been a staple. And I feel like that right there is a great example of like the pop reports on that card are insanely high, but it's very popular. Reports. Every single one of us had one of those in our pockets. If we were playing this game when we were kids and you're around our age, we all had the Ancient Mew that was just banged up from being in your cargo pocket with a rubber band around it. But we all know that card. And I feel like promos are like all promos that of good cards. Like there's opportunity.
I want you to answer this. I want a 1-word response. What comes to mind? Pop reports.
One word?
1 word. I got my word.
Negligible.
I was gonna say irrelevant.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I would say like it negligible. Like there is still like some concern in my mind when I see a card with 30,000 PSA 10s. I'm like, dude. But like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that there's not 30,000 people that want that card with PSA 10 either. Of
course.
So I mean, I think I know it plays a role, but at the end of the day, like there is a lot of demand for these new alt arts, and these cards look sick. People want them in the perfect grade. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Just play into that strength. I mean, that's been the major, that's the cash generator for this business that I'm involved in. It's grading popular cards.
Do you still have Ancient Mews?
I have a few like PSA 5s and 6s, just the shit grades that are just, no one wants, that are just misses. But no, I don't have any PSA 10s. I'm not sentimental about my cards, not even ones like this.
Ooh,
Like this is
the
going to be
Black
sold.
Label.
Yeah, so like that spreadsheet doesn't include any of my current. There's honestly probably
What is
another
that?
10
Japanese
grand.
Charmander?
Yep. From
What do you?
151.
What value do you put on that?
I don't know, dude. There are none. There's seven. There's seven in the world, and there's no sales data that I can find. I'm gonna put it on my store for like $2,000 and not put offers on it either. I'm just gonna let it sit because I've had crazy shit happen like that where people will, if somebody wants it, they're gonna buy it.
Dude, in this market, I am going to predict it sells. It sells.
Yeah. But dude, that card to me, so let's go back to like irrelevant pop reports. That card has 7, but there's like 30,000 of that card in between PSA and BGS graded in a 10 or pristine 10. Dude, that pop report matters there for sure, right?
You got the Umbreon VMAX. I mean, I believe it's like a $10,000 to $13,000 card in a Black Label.
Right, and what is it now on a PSA 10? Like $2,000?
Yeah, and it's like 14 to 15,000 PSA 10s now.
I wonder how did you say the pop report on Black Labels?
No, I do not know that.
Yeah, I'd be curious if somebody in the chat wanted to look that up. I'd be curious because I feel like, I mean, it's a easy 10x multiplier on most Black Labels, but like that card, it's a Charmander. Yes, it's Japanese. So if that was an English Charmander, I could probably get $5,000 for it. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, dude, English.
It'd be insane.
If you can Black Label English cards, you just set your price. I mean, it's just like they're impossible.
Yeah, I mean, so last time we talked, Alex, I actually had somebody had asked like how much Black Label chasing do I do, and I was like, not really any. Like that's kind of a new thing for me.
How many cards have you sent to Beckett?
Less than 50, probably. Not a lot.
So you're 1 out of 50 for Black Labels.
Probably less than that, even honestly.
Dude, you realize like that's way above like the average Black Label percentage.
For sure, but I've been grading a shit ton of cards, and I also have like a very broad depth of inventory of PSA 10s, and like some of the cards, like that Charmander was not a PSA 10, but I have cracked a few PSA 10s. And sent them to Beckett, like, hey man, that to me, which is hard to do because it's in the slab. And out of all of the PSA 10s that I've cracked, again, not a ton, but I have not gotten any Black Labels on the ones that I've cracked out of PSA 10s. So that's just like value loss, right?
Have you cracked any CGC pristines?
Yes, I cracked a
pristines?
Few. And in this submission, a few of these were pristine 10s and no Black Labels out of those either.
How bad does it hurt from a pristine to a Beckett pristine? Not bad.
But I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, okay, you got the $20 in grading fees, plus you're going to get hit 20% on eBay at the end of the day for, shipping everything.
Yeah.
So it is just value loss, value destruction for sure, but also just like trying to learn BGS. And it's like, hey man, I just got to I want to test these waters out. And then you get the Black Label Charmander and it's like, that paid for any mistakes. And now I've learned a few things.
For sure. And then the pristines are better than PSA 10s.
Yeah. I mean, every pristine that I've seen is, they usually go for, let's say a lot of the cards
they're less liquid, but they usually sell for more.
Correct. Yeah, definitely less liquid, a little bit more expensive to grade, but when you can charge more.
Yeah.
All in all, I would say like if you do have a few really nice cards, like it's worth messing around with Beckett, I would say.
Pokey Department Store. I'm behind. We'll catch up, but I dropped a video on sales and use tax if interested. The tax videos are coming out. I like it, man. Pokey Department Store, guys, if you want to learn about some taxes.
So I guess that goes back to kind of my end of year as well. So I'm using cash-based accounting. That makes a big difference for this business specifically, because with my strategy and most people's strategy, like I want to hold on to sealed product. So I don't want to write that off as inventory this year. Like I need to be able to roll that into the next year, and eventually I'll deal with that 5 years, 10 years.
Kick the can down the road. Just like real estate. I mean, everyone does it with the real estate. What is it? 1031 exchange, 1041. What's it called? 1041 exchange. I mean, it's just
1031.
like,
Yep.
yeah, it's just that's what people do. You roll the profits into a new property, and that way you can grow your equity higher in that. And then if you want to sell that, you roll the profits into another property, and it's a way to never have to actually take your profits and pay taxes on them. And yeah, eventually, if you ever want your cash, you have to take it. I mean, real estate's nice because you can just refinance and take it's not even income, it's debt, so you can actually just take money. But yeah, with Pokemon, you'll eventually have to take profits, but at least it can be at a time when maybe you have other things to offset that, right? Maybe the market downturns in, a couple of years in the stock market, and you want to sell some of your positions at losses or sell some crypto at losses and write that off against your Pokemon gains. And I mean, there's always different things you can do, but like, it's a way to kick the can down the road and not worry about it this year.
Yeah, I don't see how accrual would make sense in this business at all.
I don't know how you can keep track of it all.
Yeah, it'd be
like, what if you buy out a collection with like 1,000 cards, and some get graded, some get sold, some get kept, some get put in sets, and like that sounds impossible.
Yeah. So here's a question I have for you. Do you use any props in your videos as hey, I use this for a video? It's an expense for this video.
Well, you don't need to on cash basis. It's all the same. Everything's an expense.
Yeah. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you were doing accrual, yeah, you could definitely do that. But like with cash basis, everything you buy is an expense already, so it's just like doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So if you made 10 grand in ad revenue in a month, and you were like, "Well, I'm just going to go buy a nice."
Did you guys just hear that? 10 grand in ad revenue in a month, man.
Well, you didn't let me finish. I think you would have known who I was talking about. So you make 10 grand in ad revenue a month, and then you go roll that into a nice oil painting and then put it on your wall. and then that painting's paid for. You're good. Like it's a wash.
That's it, man. Nice oil paint. That's what's happening there.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's funny. No, yeah, so I haven't had to worry about it. I mean, my business is just structured as Nostalgianomics. So it's like any arm, it's all under the Nostalgianomics business brand, LLC, whatever. So yeah, it's all kind of, I guess, irrelevant to how I use each different, thing. Money in is money in, money out is money out type thing. Matthew L, what's up, dude? Alex just bought a Team Up Build and Battle kit. Sealed 10. I'm trying to think. Was it called? I guess they were. Was that when they became Build and Battles, or were they still pre-release kits back then? I forget. Okay, so it's sealed 10 Build and Battle boxes in a trade deal. Where do you see good Sun and Moon sets like Team Up in 5-year horizon? I don't know.
Yeah, man. A lot can happen in 5 years. Who knows? It'll probably be more expensive than it is now. Or it won't.
I mean, I definitely like a Build and Battle because wait, Team Up. Yeah, that's got the Charizard, right? I think the Team Up has the pre-release Charizard. So that's actually a great item to keep sealed because that is a card that people do chase after. And so I just want to make sure. I'm almost positive. Can someone let me know in the chat if I'm correct? I can look it up, but I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Team Up pre-release. All right, let's see. Yeah. So it's got the Charizard. So yeah, I mean, having the possibility of having that Charizard in the pre-release kit or the Build and Battle kit, and you get the pack, so you not only just have the raw pack value go up, but that Charizard could also go up in value. I like it, man. I like that item. Sounds good to me. I mean, what do you think about like those kind of items? Not just Build and Battle kits, but like, 3-pack blisters, collection boxes, like the Evolution VMAX collection boxes, like items where the packs and the Charizard UPCs, like where the packs and promos can account for the value.
I mean, I'm not a fan of sitting on those over a long period of time because they take up so much space. But there's massive opportunity in the right products. And I feel like ETBs, I've been pretty vocal with you, at least I think on all these streams, like ETBs are probably my least favorite thing to invest in because they just take up too much space and I can't deploy a meaningful amount into them. And it would take up too much of this room. So, but like the City and Flames ETBs, like there was a massive opportunity there with that promo card. So, or right now, I think hot take. Alex, did you do what we talked about the other day on
Oh,
hills?
Tropicos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some.
Okay. So I mean, I feel like that would be like that's a play that makes some sense right now on Hills Wholesale Gaming. $85 for a Tropicos UPC. Are they the best promos? No, but like there's a good spread of 5 different sets in that box, and at $85, there's some opportunity there in a market like this.
They're becoming more worth it because of the pack values going up. Like
Exactly.
2 weeks, a month ago, at $85, they looked a lot less attractive. Now, I mean, just judging for what like you can find loose packs for in Scarlet Violet now and how expensive all the booster boxes are, they start to look a lot more attractive, especially when you subtract out the price you can get for the promos. That if you want to grade the promos, I mean, you can get those you can literally get those packs down to like 2 something, like low 2s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I sold you those Crown Zenith ETBs for like what, $40 an ETB maybe. I mean, now it's like, well, damn. But that was not long. That was like September. I just looked at my PayPal statement. It was literally just a couple months ago.
Dude, people thought Crown Zenith was cooked, man.
I know.
When those Sea and Sky boxes came out and they were that widely available, people were dumping Crown Zenith ETBs like wildfire.
But like, dude, you just look at the cards. Like, do you really think the legendary cats suck? Like, is that art not going to be sought after next year? Like, dude, those are great cards.
Dude, it's got evolutions. Those are the only the gold cards. Those are the only gold cards. All right, hear me out. The only gold cards Pokemon's ever done in modern times that haven't been just the copy paste of the rainbow or the full art. That's the first time they did like an alt art on a gold. So you got that. Giratina is one of the most popular Pokemon in modern times nowadays. That Mewtwo card is one of the best arts. Fighting Charizard, how can you not like? Crown Zenith is a no-brainer at all aspects.
And it really always was. They just printed the shit out of it. They did the same thing with Evolution. They've done the same thing many times with many sets. And hopefully we go back to a market where they're like, hey, man, we got to reprint prismatic Evolutions to the ground, like Crown Zenith style. And people were like, goes from $100 a box back down to $38 an ETB. It's never going to happen, but that would be fantastic. Or really any of these sets, because there's not, in my opinion, dude, Scarlet Violet has been rock solid. I don't think there's really a bad set. Even Obsidian Flames, it's like, dude, the Charizard, it was like $40 for many, many months.
Shrouded Fable.
Obsidian Flames, Shrouded Fable. I called you about that one too. I was like, dude, you need to probably look. And again, it was a retail play. You did not have to have distribution. It was on
$300 cases.
From P Football Pete, you could get a case of what was booster bundles. I think it's 120 packs for like $400 or something like. And yeah, they're gone now too. But Shrouded Fable does not suck. That Persian's pretty sick. The Houndoom's good. The Horsey art's good. Like, are they the most popular Pokemon? No. But the art's gonna be sought after in a couple of years. Like once that stuff starts drying up, like, dude, it's
well, not
good.
Only that, I've seen it on the pack breaks, right? As soon as all the good sets get expensive, people just want to open cheap packs. And if those become the cheapest sets and Scarlet Violet base is cheap and Shrouded Fable's cheap, people just open them because they're cheaper. And when more of them get opened, well, there's less supply. And then also, Pokemon may not reprint the lackluster sets that aren't expensive, which leads to even less supply. Guys, if there was ever a crappy set that we have seen a ridiculous growth on, look no further than Dragon Majesty. Dragon Majesty, no one liked it, right? Pokemon never reprinted it. They're short supply. ETBs are freaking to the moon. One of the highest priced ETB specialty sets in Pokemon.
I mean, dude, same with Crimson Invasion, Steam Siege. Like these boxes are very expensive and they're shit sets. Like I was buying, I think we've talked about this on every stream, but Crimson Invasion was a big play for me. I mean, I was buying like $60 a box. It was insanely cheap.
Hold on. Here it is. Thoughts on Vintage. Is Vintage cooked? Sitting on roughly $40K graded and sealed from back in the day, but considering unloading some of it and reinvesting modern supply. It really depends, man. Like, dude, base set booster boxes have moved like 40%, like 80% this year. Like they were like 12K, 13K. Now they're like 20K. I know a lot of people with vintage slabs that are up like 40, 50% plus. I think it depends on what you're in. Now, look, I've said this before. I am I'm pro modern. I've been pro modern since 2021. After I saw how modern held up after the crash and vintage did not, and then after I saw how just the shift, there's just a shift that happened in the market. People prefer better art. They prefer lower entry points, more affordable cards. They really prefer the new art style compared to the old half arts. And it's just where the marketing dollars go is what most people talk about. I don't know. There's just so much more momentum in modern. And so I'm still more of a fan of modern. However, it doesn't mean you're not going to do well in vintage. It just means you're probably not going to see as big of gains. Like, I don't know if there's any vintage products seeing gains like Lost Origin and Fusion Strike and Evolving Skies, right? Like, maybe there is out there. Maybe I just don't know about it. But there's people that are making money in vintage. But yeah, like if you're talking about simply just money, right? You have no nostalgia, no collecting, nothing else going into the decision. Yeah, I would rather have 40 grand in modern than vintage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think 40 grand, like vintage is certainly not cooked. It's always going to be there, man. It's the foundation of this hobby. And really, if you are in that camp of like, hey, this market's crazy, at some point we're going to return to like a sense of normalcy, then vintage is probably a safer play than going and buying Fusion Strike at $500 a box. But time will tell.
Do you think so?
I mean, time will tell. I vintage.
Dude, you know, modern boxes held up better than vintage boxes.
They did, and I mean, it's hard to even make that argument, but I still feel like if you believe in like, hey man, lower pop reports, it's the old school stuff, then like there's always going to be a place for vintage. There's probably always going to be a place for modern too, but Fusion Strike at 500 versus market prices of vintage slabs today, I don't know. I really don't like either of those plays. Like I'd be looking somewhere else completely.
Yeah, I'm not a buyer right now of much. Shrouded Fable I was. Yeah, I mean Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles, like some of these sets that haven't moved. I mean, Scarlet Violet Base.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's just like looking for deals right now is so hard. It really is. It's I don't know. Matt, let's see. We got Alex. Thoughts on mixing some of the Sword and Shield gains into Sun and Moon and XY, or wait Scarlet Violet reprints? Dude, what's Sun and Moon and XY though? Like all that stuff's sky high. Like I don't know if there's a safe. I think I said this in a previous video or live stream. If things fall, I don't think there's a safe place, and that's why I wanted to get out with the vintage. This is a great segue into that. A lot of people thought back in 2021 that if you were going to put your money somewhere, it's vintage. That's going to be safer, and it really didn't prove to be true. And I don't really think there's any place in the market you can point to that's going to be safer. I don't think XY is safer, Sun and Moon safer, vintage safer. I think if we have a downturn, everything's going to see somewhat of a downturn, man. So like Sword and Shield into Sun and Moon or XY, I don't know. I can't really say like one thing or another right now. What do you think?
I don't know, man. But the last question in that set of questions is like what you got to be careful of. Like if you just wait for reprints, because that might not work out. As you know, like if something's running up to $300-400 a box, $500 a box before it gets a reprint, what's a reprint really going to do? Would you just be better off buying it today? I mean, it's tough. It's a tough question. It's a tough thing to do with your money I don't know. It just requires some speculation. And at the end of the day, do you enjoy it enough to where if it goes to shit, like, are you going to be happy sitting on it? Probably the question. But like, it's
really hard to buy into things when they're up 50+%, but big butt. Everyone likes big butts. Some privileged information. There was messages from distributor that I'm not going to say who they were from, right? The Rudy saying email to myself. Apparently Pokemon has no plans to reprint Paradox Rift. If they have no plans to reprint Paradox Rift, there's a likelihood that Obsidian Flames Paldea restock was it. Very high likelihood SV Base isn't going to see another reprint. Maybe some of those sets are move into. Maybe Paradox at 140 something a box. Maybe, I mean, like if you look at what Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, Lost Origin, all these high flyer sets have done in Sword and Shield, they're all like high 3s, 4s, 500s. Paldea evolved. Maybe that's going to be a $400 or $500 box in a couple years. Still double your money. I mean, it's like those are things you can think about. Nothing's for sure, but like I would say those are probably higher probability than buying into like Surging Sparks at 250 or, even Twilight Masquerade at 190, 200, or even Stellar Crown at 160. Like those are much more likelihood of getting a reprint. Paladin Fates has a much higher likelihood of getting a reprint than those earlier sets do.
Is Twilight at $200 a box?
190.
Really?
190.
Wow, dude. I think I last week bought it for 160, 165. That's just crazy, man. That's crazy. I think you guys talked about this the other night when all you guys were live. I think it was during that stream, but you made a great point about the pack price. Like, dude, even at $140 a box divided by 36 is what, I don't know what it is. What is it? $4 a pack?
$4.
Yeah, $4 a pack. Dude, compared to when we were kids, going to the gas station, getting a pack for $3, the Pokemon's probably suffered less inflation than almost everything else that we interact with in our daily lives over the last 20 years.
Dude, we talked about
140 a box does not scare me.
Dude, we talked about it. The reason I do that is it was one of the sales tactics I used to use when I sold things. Because it was really easy, because if anyone doesn't know, I used to work for Renewal by Anderson. They're very expensive windows. And so when you go around someone's house and they have 10, 12 windows, you're hitting them with a $30,000 to $40,000 bill, which seems ridiculous. One thing Anderson does really well is they had really good financing. They had 0% for 60 months. They had 2.5% or 2 point something percent financing, 9% for like 10 years. They had financing plans, right? First thing people say, oh, I'm not going to finance windows. And you say, okay. And so, you can talk about the house. Like, well, yeah, it's a house though. What about your car? Well, that's a car though. Okay. Let me ask you something. If Charter, AT&T, whoever internet you're using said, hey, listen, you want internet for your house? Great. That's going to cost you $30,000. You're going to say, what the hell? No, I'm not paying that. Okay, cool. What we're going to do then, if you want to pay that, we'll break it down into nice monthly payments. We'll charge you $60 a month for the next 30 years. Oh, okay, I can do that. It's the same thing. It's the same freaking thing. That's all financing, especially with 0%. It's like, oh, you can't afford $30,000 windows. How about $300 a month for the next 10 years? Okay. For sure. Okay. And that's how you break it down to people. So it's like people see these things and they're just like, well, Alex, it's $140. It's like, it's $4 a pack. $4 a pack. You're just freaking out because you're seeing a big number and you got price memory of booster boxes costing $100. They don't cost $100 anymore. At the end of the day, it's $4 a freaking pack.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And back to home improvement, another thing that Renewal is really good at, because I'm in a very similar industry. I sell building materials, but we service very high-end homes that would be the clients of Renewal by Anderson. And one of the sales tactics that our sales guys will use is, if we come back out next year to give you a quote, your price is likely going to be higher. So like you build that value in today, because and that's not a lie. Tomorrow's price is going to be more expensive than today's price. I've got to send a sales guy back out. That means I'm less productive. He's not closing another opportunity, and Pokemon cards have appreciated from like the pack price per pack standpoint from 1999. Packs are up 25% over 25 years. That's pretty negligible.
That's it.
So 140 a box for some of these sets right now does not scare me.
You'd be surprised too at how many sales I got using that mindset. And that wasn't even anything that we were taught. Like that wasn't like it was just something that like made sense, right? It was just like, it always made sense to me. And so I was, and you can use it with anything. It's like everything in your house. Like what if your city came and said, okay, you're going to buy that house. Okay, you want water? All right, great. So water is going to cost you, $25,000. You'd be like, what are you talking about? Oh, you can't afford that? Okay, we'll set you up on a payment plan. You give us, $50 a month for 30 years. Oh, okay, I can afford that. Same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like anything in your, basically most things in your life, you pay a subscription. You pay a monthly charge, like your cell phone, your any subscriptions you pay, like your insurance, like I don't know, anything you basically pay in life is basically monthly payments. It's just people don't like to look at certain things they buy as monthly payments, whereas it's really the same thing. It's just like, I don't know, it's just getting them to see things in a different way.
Being a member on Nostalgianomics YouTube channel.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just like even 180 a box. That sounds crazy high. That sounds ridiculously high to everyone out there, right? $5 a pack.
Yeah, that's the breakdown, man. I mean, that's the
$5.
math. And I feel like you and I struggled with the same thing this year, closing out our books, was like really need to buy a bunch of shit at these elevated price points because I'd rather have an extra 10 grand of sealed products than pay taxes on 10 grand. So I'm happy to pay a little bit more for some of these Scarlet Violet boxes just to avoid the tax man this year. So I wonder if there's enough people that are doing this to bring that in. How impactful are the rip and shippers right now to this hobby?
Everything.
I mean, it's huge.
They're everything. That's the hobby now. And it's the same. This is why I said, like, anyone who remains really set in their ways and refuses to shift their mindset is going to get left behind. It's the same thing that happened back when I said, like, if I saw things shift. Guys, if you don't know my history, I was a 95% vintage collector investor before 2020, 2021. I mean, I started to make positions in like some modern sets. Some of the bigger ones were Evolutions, Generations, Burning Shadows, Unified Minds, a few other sets, Shining Legends. But before that, I mean, it was all vintage, right? I saw the market shift. I switched gears. I switched myself to 100% modern because I saw this new age coming. We're seeing this happen in the last year, I would say. Obviously, like, PokeRev, some other people started it off. They were kind of like the innovators. But since then, the hobby has completely been taken over with the rip and ship culture. And if you don't shift your mindset to understand that, you're going to get left behind again. That means that all loose packs now are valuable. I don't care what it is. I used to be against all those other products. I said they were going to take a long time to move because there weren't a lot of collectors for it. Collectors going for the booster boxes. Booster boxes always have a premium on packs and all that stuff. It's different now, right? Streamers don't care. We don't care where we're getting packs. I don't care if it's a check lane blister, a 3-pack blister, a ETB, PC ETB, a tin, a collection box, a booster box. It doesn't matter. We need the packs. And wherever we can get the lowest price per pack, we're going to go. And because of that, it's making every loose pack product investable. Whereas before, it was really more about the booster boxes, PC ETBs. Now it doesn't matter. That's why you see Surging Sparks loose packs costing $7 and something. You would never see a pack cost $7.50 when the box is only worth a little over $200. Because if you do the math, I'll do the math right now, right? $7.50 times 36 packs, that's $270. You're having packs cost as much as booster boxes now because people just need the packs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, that's where like the build and battles or the ETBs, things that like I really don't want to. I don't want to keep them sealed, but if there's a promo graded play that can be made, and then I can package, if I can sell all those packs off, then like that's a win for me. And then as the market just rises, I mean, it can make sense.
Yeah,
but it might not make sense at the time. Right, like Obsidian Flames was not an expensive set until very recently. It was
right.
But then all of a sudden the market moved, and it's like. And by the way, those Charmander promos are like $200 in a PSA 10, 150 to $200. I've got a nice stack of them, similar to the Ancient Mew stack that I had back in the day. Like that's just that makes sense. It's like, oh wow, well it seems obvious now. But when Obsidian Flames was very cheap and you were eating those packs, you're just losing a little bit of money and you're only making a little bit of margin if you graded the 10 because the Charmander was only $80 in a 10 back then as well. And now it's like, well, yeah, but now a 36 pack lot of Obsidian Flames is $130 and the Charmander is $200 in a PSA 10, $250 in ETB case. Man, what an obvious play.
What an obvious play. And that's what sucks about now is the obvious plays are really disappeared.
Yeah. Well, there's really nothing.
There's nothing to buy.
There's really not.
There's nothing to buy.
I mean, the distribution sheets are like pathetic. It's like 1 or 2 lines. It's like, damn, dude, you've got to go to the open market. I'll tell you what I bought outside of the Terapagos UPCs, the classic collections. I think those are interesting to me at this price point. At $200, I think there's an opportunity there. It's going to require legwork. It's not something that I want to sit on sealed investing. It's just going to be a break it down. Grade 10s, sell singles.
Look at this. We have never sold more packs on PokeNE than we have this week. It's wild, insane. Even the Cyclozar EX boxes are selling out now. Ryan,
there
what's
you
up,
go.
dude? Good, perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many packs do you think you're breaking a week?
Me?
Yeah. Just guess.
Probably around 3,500 packs.
Oh my God. Are you serious? So you're breaking down
We
100
usually
booster
do more
boxes?
than 1,000 a night.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's 100 booster boxes a week. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's good. It's getting very hard to manage. You know, it's hard to get that many packs. You know, it's not as easy as it seems. You know, like I'm selling somewhere close to $25,000 a week, meaning I need $25,000 in product a week.
I mean, yeah, dude. So you and all the other people doing what you're doing go to
And
the open market.
people always like make fun of me when I say this. Guys, I'm small. I'm not like minuscule. I'm not new. I'm not like a novice, but I'm a small streamer. As crazy as that sounds, I can name you 5 streamers, 10 streamers top of my head who all do $3, $4, $5 million plus a year in sales. I'm a smaller guy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You can imagine what they're doing.
That's wild. That is insane. So sealed. Yeah. I mean, that'll be an interesting, as that plays out over the next 6 months. If we do see a market downturn, like what happens to all those singles that these people get? Like, are there going to be graded plays? Are there going to be very cheap singles and a lot of graded play opportunities? And sealed prices are now very high. So there'll be even a bigger, we've talked about this. I think, again, every time I've been on here, like just because the price, the EV of the box, like people, there's for some reason when people get in the hobby, they think like, well, there's only, a $200 chase card in this box. Why would it be $500? It's like, as time goes on, like that EV spread is even bigger.
Dude, Darkness Blaze is a perfect example. I mean, I talked about it in video multiple times, like the Charizard and the other top hit in the set. I forget what it is. You know, they're worth like $30, $20 each in raw. The Charizard goes for like $80, $90 PSA 10. The other card, the Eternatus maybe, goes for like $30, $40, $50 in a PSA 10. Even if you got both the best cards in the set and they both graded 10s, you're not getting your value back out of the box. Not to mention grading fees and selling fees. You're not even getting half your value back. I mean, people, and this is what throws people off, and that's when all the single collectors come out of the woodwork and say, that's overpriced, that's manipulated, no way it's worth that, the estimated value doesn't make sense, because they don't understand the value of having sealed collectibles.
Yep. I mean, as some of you guys maybe remember, I mean, I used to really love vintage Magic too. Like, I was buying sealed Ice Age booster boxes before the crazy price spikes. And dude, even
did you
back
at least
then,
catch some of it?
What's that?
Did you at least catch some of it?
No, I don't have any of my.
Did you at least catch some of the spike?
Oh yeah, yes. I sold into that with the Magic stuff. I got out of Magic at a pretty good time. But like a sealed Ice Age box at like $400, $500, $600. I don't know what they are today, dude. There's probably like $20 worth of cards in that box, in the whole box. Like, it's just. But that was even before all the money really and the eyes came to the trading card space. Like, it's always been a thing.
Pokepond in the house. What's up, Pokepond? It is a new era of Pokemon, like it or not. And then Pokemon, he's saying, we're taking every 10 and EX box off the site and opening them for packs. Yeah, dude, it makes sense because it's less shipping and you can bulk more packs into a package and get way more bang for your buck out of it. I get it.
Yeah, I was messing with Alex the other day. I'm like, dude, you're going to have to up your trash service. So I can't imagine, like, what do you do with all your tins and, like, at a large scale where you're doing millions of dollars?
There's Retrospecs right there. If you guys didn't know, me, Brian Pokeyani, and Dan Ketchum Collectibles, we're all on Retrospecs channel for a live stream. I don't even know what it's up to. I know it was like popping in there. It might be up to like close to 10,000 views at this point. But it was crazy. But if Alex starts incorporating Japanese into his rip and ships, regular hobby will 10x. Dude, I have retro. If you didn't know, man, on Wednesday, I did my first ever Japanese break with a case of 151. We sold out of an entire case of 151. I got another case listed tonight. I expect to sell out of every single box in there. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a thing. I don't think I'm going to do every Japanese set, but I think I'm probably going to do like the higher class ones, the more like hyped ones. Just to give someone a, cheaper option that, especially as English gets more and more expensive. And
that was always my argument with grading Japanese singles as well. It's like, while no eyes are on Japanese, dude, if I can buy the Groudon AR from Paradox Rift for $80 raw or whatever it is now, I mean, it's an expensive card. But in Japanese, I could buy that same card for $7 or $8 raw. That to me is a no-brainer. And at some point when English is too expensive, like that's going to look like a really good play. And people who want that art that aren't willing to pay $200-$300 for a PSA 10 version of the English copy could go and buy a PSA 10 of that card for $50 or $60. It makes sense to me. I still think it makes sense. And now we're probably going to see a lot of traction in Japanese with what's going on right now.
Retro said probably a downturn, probably inevitable, but people forget even before we were booming all the way back in Shiny Treasure PE release, then the Greninja alt. Yeah, I mean, I think me and Pokemon Plumber, the last live stream, we called it a boom within a boom. A boom within a boom is what we called it, because it's true.
I mean, it is, man. It is. It definitely doesn't suck right now. Like, if you have shit to sell, you can very easily sell it. The problem is you probably can't buy it back, right? Like, so that's the we're all in that. Everybody who's doing something like this is in that same kind of dichotomy where it's like it's really nice to have higher prices and such demand, and you can sell your inventory, but replacing your inventories, that's the challenge right now.
A lot of people are asking our thoughts on the Journey Together, on the enhanced booster boxes, all that good stuff. You have any guys? You guys know me. I don't really get into much of the new stuff, like the leaks, the spoilers. I'm just not about that. I play things as they come. I just don't think there's any reason to look forward when you got no control over it. So it's like, why even worry? But do you have any thoughts on it, man?
I don't even know what's going on. Like, to me, that kind of stuff, I really don't. I don't stay plugged into the day to day. It's market noise to me. Until there's something that I can buy and actually make some plays on, like, it's not really on my radar. So I of course know of the set, but I don't know any drama that happened today or yesterday. So fill me in.
I mean, Journey Together got released. Of course, it was like, site was crashing, sold out in, hour. I made a really funny skit about it on one of my videos about, like, they're sitting in the boardroom and they're just like, why did we just put promos in the ETBs? And they're like, well, what do you mean? Put them in the booster boxes. Oh, hell yeah. Like that, like you just imagine, like, when that idea comes out, like, that's it. That is gold. Do that, like in that. So they're putting a promo now in, like, the booster box. And, there's some info saying that it's going to be in every booster box. Some are saying it's just going to be on the Pokemon Center. Some are saying it's not going to have a stamp the way the PC one does. I don't know all the info. Again, I don't stay in tune to all that. But I think this is going to be the start of another new age. Pokemon's figured it out. They've done this forever. They had stamp promos going back to freaking, like, base sets. Like, they had like the base set Pikachu with a bunch of different stamps on it, like, whether it be like all the different countries or no, that was the surfing Pikachu or something. I forget. But they even had like an Australian, like, release, like, stamp. There's always been stamps, right? Going back to, like, modern times, they had pre-release stamps. They had staff promo stamps. They had world stamps. Well, they finally got this PC ETB stamp and figured out that this is the biggest gold mine of all time. And they're running with it. And now they're starting to say, you know what? What if we just start putting stamps in all these different products? Or not even stamps, just promo cards. And they're doing it again with those the mystery boxes of prismatic evolutions with one of each of the evolutions. And I think they're going to continue to play around with this more and more. And it's going to get more and more promo card or stamps on more and more items and cards. That's my opinion. And
then they still have serialized cards in their back pocket too.
That's in their back pocket still.
That's when things are really going to get retarded.
Yeah, dude, put it this way. They put a freaking stamp on a card. And I get not a stamp, sorry. They put a card in a booster box. And I understand we're in a bull market. They figure out a way to get someone to buy out and prepay MSRP plus tax, right? Because Pokemon Center doesn't allow resale certificates. I don't care if you're a business or not. You're paying tax on a set that isn't released until 3 months.
That's crazy.
They've cracked the freaking code, bro.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, it's a hell of a business.
I mean, You used to have stores blowing out pre-orders for like $5.50 a case just to move inventory because they wanted to keep their distro numbers up to a point where now people are paying full MSRP because they want a freaking promo card.
We'll see it kick back in the other direction, man. It would be nice to go back to a healthy place. I don't know. I don't know when that's going to happen or how it's going to happen, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice to get product again.
Yeah, this kind of plays into that. Charisse said, for people who have lower amounts invested, what's your advice for selling, reinvesting capital back into the hobby when prices are at highs for sets?
I mean, honestly, dude, I feel like my year is a good example of like, hey, the market was rising that entire time. So you just roll that money into another graded play. I mean, that model is always going to work. Like it's really a service-based business if you think about it. Like I'm doing something that other people don't want to do, don't want to mess with. There's people out there that just want the best card in the best condition, and they don't want to go and wait 3 weeks until they find the perfect card on eBay that they think will grade a 10 and then wait 3 months to get it back and get a 9 and be disappointed. Like it's a service-based business. I'm essentially saying like, hey, I'm willing to buy the single, grade it for you, and sell it to you in that perfect condition. So like that, I feel like that's really where the opportunity is going to be.
Dude, if I'm a collector and that example we were given earlier, if the card is like 10, 20 bucks, all right, and it's selling for like 40, 50, 60 and a 10, dude, I'm buying the 10. Why am I going to do the work to find go like search for eBay listings or go to card shops, look for a perfect card, make the whole submission, send it in, get it graded, get it back. Cross my fingers, hope I got the 10 to save like 10, 15, 20 bucks. Just just buy the card. You want it, buy it.
Exactly. And so to me, that is how like people with lower amounts of money invested, that's how you would continue to reinvest your capital while everything continues to go up. Because if everything's continuing to go up, I mean, there's going to be times also where things go down and you may buy a bunch of cards.
Don't say that.
Maybe I'm wrong, but let's say the market does ebb and flow.
Okay, this crazy hypothetical dystopian future where markets go down, guys. Like this guy.
I actually, like you can send cards to PSA and it can work in your favor where when you get them back, they're more expensive than like significantly more expensive than what you thought you were going to make on them. That's a great situation to be in. They can go the other direction too. So that would be the risk there. It's not a risk-free thing.
There was a time when 9s were profits.
Dude, there's profits.
I mean, now it is again, but like there was a time when like PSA 9 you could still make money off. Like that was a big shock to the grading community when a lot of people started to hop on the bandwagon and 9s became like losses. That was a big shock.
Yeah. And that was recently. That's not been forever. I feel like that's just over the last couple of years. If you're not grading 10s, you are losing money.
Yeah.
I mean, if I get a PSA 8, I'm just cracking it out of the slab and selling it raw.
Absolutely.
That's just not going to
especially if you can ship it in an envelope, save shipping too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, it's just everything. The market's constantly changing. So if you're not constantly changing with it, you're getting left behind.
I feel like that's the real takeaway here, man, is like we had a saying in the Marine Corps, it's Semper Gumby, always flexible. Because the real saying is Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Well, we just said Semper Gumby because there's always some bullshit, something changes, got to do this, got to do that. Like, dude, Semper Gumby with this. It's like just always flexible.
Hot take. Fair warning. Stores will wildly overorder this thinking they'll get rich. Pokemon will call their bluff and print to demand. Stores will panic, sell it to afford their invoices. I'll buy everything. 100%, Brian. Love it. Love that take. 100% believe that and agree with it. There will come a time where a Crimson Invasion style set will come, where demand will be getting to start wavering, where maybe things will be on a little bit of a price competition on the downside. That thing Stephen was talking about was things will eventually fall. And then there will be that set that comes that people don't want. And people are going to be doing this stupid, idiotic thing they're doing right now. Give me 10,000 boxes of that. Give me that. And they're going to give it to them. And they're going to charge every dime to that store. And either that store is going to pay it or they're going to get blacklisted from that distributor forever and go out of business. And they're going to pay it. And they're going to have to dump it to pay off their credit card bill because they can't really afford it. and they're going to lose tens of thousands of dollars. And that is going to happen to so many people. And then they're going to get on and whine and complain about, oh, it's boo-hoo me. No, it's not. You were freaking getting way too greedy. You were trying to, get as much as you possibly could and make every dime you could, and you bit off more than you can chew. And anyone that lives like that, hey, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah, and most LGSs are not very good business models. They're not ran by really savvy business owners. There's going to be a day of reckoning. It could take years from now. It could happen next month. But you're right. I think it starts with a bad set. And that could be the turning point. And when we finally get a little breathing room here, and it'll be easier to source. You get the shrouded fable, but maybe not quite as good as a shrouded fable. And it's like, hey man, you can get all the packs you want for shrouded fable. There'll be an opportunity like that for sure.
By the way, shrouded fable up until like a month ago, was cheaper than distribution prices. Guys, that was a reality. Like, anyone new to this hobby doesn't get it. That was a reality for a lot of sets, like where you could go on eBay and these giant stores like P Football Pete or Hills Wholesale Gaming actually had better prices than what you could buy from distributors, because they have, lower deals worked out, or they don't pay really any fees on eBay, or they have their own site, whatever. You could actually, that's how it used to be for a lot of sets. That was just like that for Shrouded Fable. Don't think that can't happen again.
Yeah, and key thing you said there, on eBay. This was available. This opportunity is out
open
there
public.
The open market. Yep, just anybody in the retail space could just go buy it. You don't need special relationships. You don't need to know anybody. It's right there in front of all of you.
You know what's really funny, and I hesitate to say this. I don't want to make fun of anyone that's new to the hobby, but it is really funny. I have this short that I made like a while ago, and it was like showing off my Evolving Skies boxes, and just like, I was just kind of going through like the price I bought them at, price, like whatever. I get so many comments on that video, and I still get them. But where do I buy these? Where do I buy these? Where do I get a case? Like eBay, TCG Player, any Pokemon site? Like, I don't. It's crazy that people don't know where to buy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the majority of the hobby. Like, dude, the 500 people that are watching this, like, we're in deep. We're in way deeper than 99.9% of people who say they like Pokemon. Like, this is a different one. Like, I didn't know for shit, and probably until 2015 when Pokemon Go came out. It's probably when I was like, oh wow, booster box, and like I could buy booster boxes. That's an interesting concept. And then Rudy started coming out with his videos around that time too, in like 2015 or so. But like, dude, I didn't know booster box. I didn't know you could buy 36 packs back in the day. Like none of the, I mean, I'm not going to say none. I think there are kids now that do know they were opening booster boxes, whereas we used to get like
kids pack. Now know. Yeah.
Like we used to get a pack from 7-Eleven. Like once a week.
It's a different world, man.
Totally different.
And you know what? That's why, come to think of it, that's why booster box price is so like such a hot button issue. Like, it's $150. Well, it was always that much. Like, if you go back to the old card shops, they were selling for $4. Guess what? That's $144. You just never knew it because your parents never bought you a box. They bought you 2 packs.
Exactly, man. 100%.
That was always the price.
Yeah, $4. The real difference is $4 back in the day would buy you a combo at Taco Bell, and now it's $14. That's
now you get a taco.
Yeah.
And you can't even get a Baja Blast. Brad, really appreciate the super chat, man. $20. Thank you, dude. Let's start a GoFundMe for Pokey. He needs it, let me tell you. So he can move to Japan, meet the Pokemon bigwigs, and relay insider secrets, reprint, lower distribution costs, etc. I'm down for that. Let's do it. Brian, you down? You want to relocate? Your wife cool with that? Raise your child in Japan whenever you guys have one?
Japan's cool, man. I lived there for about 7 months.
That's funny. He says love it. He's down. Dude, Brian's down. He's going to Japan, guys. I'm going to take over the English operations. Let's see. Yeah, Retro, I've heard this from other people too. The base set of next gen will probably be when things cool off. Even like the SV space, it'll actually be a pretty good set though. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, dude, when
because that'll be 2026.
When we went into Scarlet and Violet, everyone was so negative. We were done. It was all
coming off
shit.
one of the best sets of all time being Crown Zenith.
That's true, but it's just funny. It's like you're in the moment right now. Is like you just, for some reason there's this disconnect when the product is readily available at a fair price. Everybody's like, oh well, it's just shit. There's no good art. There's nothing. And then if that same shit art goes up to $100 for a card, now all of a sudden everybody wants it, and it's like, dude, the opportunities were there in front of us for a long time.
Dude, you know how it is. Like, everyone complains when stuff's expensive, but nobody wants it when it's cheap. Secretly, everyone wants it to be expensive. They just want a chance to go buy it when it's cheap again. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you had all the time. Everyone had all the time in the world to buy Fusion and Chilling. All the time in the world. You could have, I mean, look, if you're in this hobby at all, I understand there's people out there struggling and like, you know, paycheck to paycheck and paying bills. And I get all that. And this is like, I want to be sensitive to all that. But if you're actively in this hobby, you're watching this channel and you're actually buying Pokemon cards because you have extra funds, anyone could have bought those boxes. They were $80 for months. You could have saved up $20 for 4 months and bought a Fusion Strike box. $20 for 4 months, bought a Chilling Reign box. Anyone could have invested in those. Nobody wanted to. Now everyone wants to, and they're saying they're too expensive.
I know, dude. I mean, I think it was probably for a full year. Chilling Reign. Rudy was calling Chilling Reign Chilling Pain. It is Chilling Pain if you open the packs. Let me tell you. That's fair, but but it just sat at $80 for well over a year. I still think Battle Styles is a pretty mediocre set, but it's got one really good card in it, and that's enough to carry. Like there's opportunity out there.
Hey man, after looking at Crimson Invasion, Sun and Moon Base being 300 plus a box, why can't Battle Styles?
It 100% can. They legitimately don't have any hits. Battle Styles at least has one really good one, and that's all you need is one really good one. And over a long enough period of time, people will want that card. Yeah,
and there's this very weird thing with collectors. They really like to go after the top hits and sets. Like, even if they don't go back and collect a set or master set or anything else, they're going to want that Tyranitar card.
100%.
You know, it's just, they're going to want that rainbow rare Pikachu from Vivid Voltage. It was a time in history in the hobby.
Yep.
Question: in the current market, do you both think any sort of booster box reprint will have a little to no effect on the price of booster boxes after a month or so of the reprint coming out?
No. I mean, dude, no, I really don't. I really don't. If a set is popular enough to get a reprint, you better fucking buy it. Like, that's really where I think it's at.
Unless you're a conspiracy theorist, right? You think somehow everyone on the internet all talks to each other and all like conspires behind this you know, lie. I can tell you right now, I don't talk to everybody. Everyone is telling you no one is getting enough prismatic evolutions. Everyone's getting cut. There are large stores that are getting 10 cases for their entire operation, right? So if the original print run, the original release is that short, even if the reprint was the same size, it's not enough. Even if it was half the size, it's not enough. There's too many. I said it before. If 100 stores, or let's say 1,000 stores used to get 100 cases each, well, now 10,000 stores want cases. Now they're all getting cut down less. Now 20,000 stores all want cases of Pokemon. They're all getting cut down to very little. And when everyone has very little, there's no reason to blow things out because you want to get every bit of money you can out of that small amount you have.
Yeah, I mean, even look at Paldea Evolved. That was not long ago. It got the reprint. It went down to just barely over $100. It was like what, maybe 110, 115 a box after the reprint.
I don't even know if it got that low, did it?
It was $727 a case. So
okay, by the case it may have. The single boxes never dropped below the 120s.
But $727 a case, I mean, that is barely, it's 110 to 120. It was pretty close to, you know, what
that is 120.
So, I mean, and look at where it's at. That was not long ago. If a set's popular enough to get a reprint in today's climate, like, to me, that's the buy. That is the opportunity. And it's not going to stick around very long. Prismatic is going to be, they can't print enough of it. I don't think. It doesn't matter what they do.
And think about it. They still got to print 151.
Dude, that's probably my big miss of this year, is thinking that 151 was going to get reprints. And I guess it is with the Blooming Waters, but I just don't see that being enough. There's no way. I mean, I was expecting like 151 is going to have an evolution style reprint. No doubt in my mind. They're going to print that set heavier than they printed any set. And they have. And that really feels bad because I sold it. So
I've seen a couple comments about this. I've seen a couple comments about this. I'm not going to bring it up on screen. Hold on. You probably don't even know about it because you stay disengaged, right? What do you think about the metal detecting?
I haven't even watched the video, but I've seen a headline and I'm like, it sounds like the CT scan thing, market noise. Dude, the way that it's not going to affect what I'm doing. I think it's garbage. I don't think there's really anything to that. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's funny too, like, and I get it. Like, look, I understand people's mindset. Like, I always try to see things from both sides, you know, like the exact opposite way of what like politicians do. I try to like actually see things both ways. And I try to look at it as an outsider looking in, right? All outsiders looking in are saying is, well, yeah, your guys' business is attached to it, so of course you're going to act like it's no big deal. Or, well, yeah, you have a lot of money invested. Of course, there's truth to that. I get it, right? And I'd like to think that people don't think I'm lying or I'm not like 100% authentic, because I am. I just truly, just like I said back when CT scanning came out, I truly don't think there's anything to worry about. I think in 1, 2, 3 months, this will all be forgotten. It will barely ever be talked about. And we're going to say in 6 months, a year, remember all those people that were freaked out and left the hobby because of the metal detecting? Like, I joke about it now. It's like, yeah, I got a retired police dog. I taught him, instead of drugs, he sniffs for hollows. He just sniffs for I got a police dog. He can sniff out alt arts. It's like, that's how stupid we're getting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Whenever there's a lot of money in any space, you're going to see things like that, right? Like, that's when you're going to see the scalpers, you're going to see scammers, you're going to see bots coming into coming into buyout stores. Like, when there's money in something, it attracts opportunists. So, like, I'm not saying it's a total nothing burger. I don't know, but in my mind, it is a nothing burger. It may not be, but I just can't imagine that being a thing. And the way that I collect/invest is like, I mean, how do you metal detect a box? It's gonna ping because there's gonna be a hollow inside my case.
Or no, they do it for packs. They're saying like they're metal detecting Sword and Shield packs to find like hits or something.
I mean, dude, if you've got the time to do that and that's how you want to earn your living and tell your kids what you do to make your money and put food on the table, go for it.
Yeah, it's truly funny what people are. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe we're all being bamboozled. Maybe we're the idiots. I don't know. I give my opinions, and my opinions are unbiased. Honestly, I talk against myself sometimes. I just give you my honest take on the market. It's going to be another CT scanning thing, in my opinion. You know, yeah. And you know, we joked about it on another stream. I'm like, who do you think's crying harder right now? Is it the I'm going to wait crowd, which you're, I guess, a little part of that right nowadays? But is it that, or is it the CT scanning crowd? It's still the CT scanning crowd, because those people were selling everything they freaking owned in Pokemon because they were so freaked out that everything was scanned. And it's just like every single product that was worried about back then is all higher than it was then. And everyone's still buying it.
I'll say this, man. It's way easier to be for the average person. Like, just statistically, it's way more likely that you're going to be pessimistic. And there's a fantastic saying in like the traditional markets, and it's bears sound smart, bulls make money. Like, dude, if you want to sit here and just be negative Nancy about everything, hold my beer. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Enjoy being miserable. Like, if you're consuming this content and all you're doing is just shitting on every aspect of it, like, what's the deal? I don't understand that. If you don't agree with it, dude, disengage.
Well, you've been around. You've been around as long as I have. Do you remember when that was the cool thing in the Pokemon investing space?
Dude, it was a thing for a long, long time until
all the Pokemon, all the like hardcore investing, like it was cool to be bearish. Like, and then everyone like held all those people in such high regard because of how bearish they were. Like, oh yeah, these guys know what they're talking about. It's like, what? And then everything proved false. Like everything did the exact opposite. Everything went completely bullish. And it's like everyone still does that. They almost hold people in higher regard if you are against like the market. It's strange.
Well, because the people who have those opinions and those takes, they sound very intelligent. It's like, dude, that is, wow, what a thinker. What a thinker. That person's like bucking the trend. They're not going with the crowd. And it's like, in reality, there's more people that are bearish than you would think. Like that is what people want to hear. We're attracted to negativity. That's it. It's harder to just put your money in the S&P 500 for 40 years and let that 10% compound and do its magic than people think. But that's really where the wealth is created. It's not the fast money guys that are trading options and, oh, Apple stock's been overvalued and, for years and years, it's time. Like, could you get lucky and hit it? Yeah, you could, but the wealth is built over a long period of time, being consistent. And I'm not saying like, don't use your brain, like keep your brain turned on. Like there's certainly things in the market that you need to listen to and pay attention to, but CT scanning, metal detecting, the bottom falling out, that's not really, in my mind, where the attention and the concern is going.
The stock market groups are great, dude. They're like talking to gamblers. Like they'll say stuff every day, right? They'll be like, this is overvalued. I'm going to get this many puts against it. I'm going to short this. I'm going to do it. And you do that every day for like a month. And then eventually one big drop happens and they can't stop posting about it. I told you guys, look at this. Look what I made. Hey, how much did you lose those other 19 days? Look what I made today. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing to me, man. So I think just the guys who get hurt, or you get hurt when you jump off the roller coaster, just hold on. Just stay buckled in. If you enjoy it and you're about it, then just ride it out. Be consistent over a long enough period of time. You'll likely be rewarded, because we all know, well, you and I know, and a lot of people in here who are educated and in this space and like pretty invested in it and have been for a while, know that the people that we sell to today will likely not be in the hobby 24 months from now. Like most people rotate out, and so your customer base is always changing. But if you just stick around, like there'll be the next generation of negative Nancy's in the next generation of Pokemon, and we'll see. But it'll probably be different people.
Well, here's the real question: what is the next generation of Steve's business looking like for 2025? Any major changes? Business as usual?
I'm gonna grind it again this year, pretty much the same as I did last year, and do a lot of grading. Do a lot of bulk order buying of lower value cards, and just selling off the misses and grading the hits. And again, relatively low dollar margins, but like high percents, and continue to roll. Like when I have a great, like November, December have been fantastic for me. Like too much money coming in from my eBay store than I can realistically deploy into singles that I see that are like what I want to be involved in. Like that's where I take that excess capital and go buy some sealed product. So I think it's going to be a lot more of the same, but really, I guess my goal for 25 is if I could replicate what I did this year and make 150% cash on cash on the now larger nut, and then build a even larger sealed position moving into 2026. I think that's where I want it. So yeah, it'll probably be very much the same of what I did this year. Unless something crazy happens. And, again, like Semper Gumby, like if I need to pivot, then we will. But
what percentage are you Japanese to English these days?
I mean, it's a lot of Japanese, man. It's okay. I'll put it this way. It's 100% English for sealed product, but a lot of my singles and a lot of my grading plays is Japanese, and it's not
just easier to source because of the quality.
It's it, man. It's not that like the money's better. The money is certainly better in English. The liquidity is certainly better in English. But in Japanese, I can buy, I could go to eBay again, not like I feel like there's a lot of people that say like, yeah, my distributor, or yeah, my plug. It's like, I mean, dude, you could just go on eBay and probably buy, 25 copies of a Groudon AR in Japanese, and your catch is that you tie up $150, wait a month for them to get to the United States, and then send them to PSA. Maybe 5 of them are grade worthy. That's another thing I think probably need to debunk. At least in my experience, like everyone's saying like Japanese print quality is like so easy to grade 10s. It's really not. It's really not. It's not like 90% of these cards that you get from Japan are PSA 10s. It's still a pretty low percentage. So maybe 5 out of those 25 cards grade a PSA 10, sell those off, and now you have a zero cost basis and 20 raw copies that you have to sell. Is that really the business that I like? Do I like packaging a $7, $8, $9 card in an envelope? Not really, but it works right now, and it's fueling it's keeping the bankroll going, and the cash flow is consistent, and it works for my business model right now.
Does it ever I don't want to use the word worry, but does it ever worry occur to you of how much you're moving and how many other people are moving this amount of cards, that this kind of volume can keep up?
I mean, dude, I know. So again, back to that slideshow that we put together, I have no loyalty. I have no outward facing, no brand loyalty, and this is another to tie into that is we discuss it's really nice when I sell to a business. If I sell a sealed case on eBay, it's really nice when I sell that sealed case for $1,500 to a business, because they have a reseller's permit and they don't have $125 of tax that I have to pay eBay fees on. So it's nice to sell to other businesses. Dude, I have 95% of the people that buy from my eBay store are not repeat buyers. And I would say very close to that as well, are those 95% are also paying tax. So I'm selling to consumers and I have no loyal customers. I don't know how much more exposed to what more I don't have. I just feel like I'm in a very low risk position. People are buying from me because it's cheap, and I have a 100% positive feedback eBay store. So people can go in and be like, do I trust this guy with loose packs? It's well, yeah, you do. 3,600 people have told you can. Yeah. That's it, dude. So I feel like my store is a great representation of, of those questions.
Yeah. I mean, here's the other thing, right? Everyone has their own opinion on Rattle, right? Rattle Pokemon. I don't have a negative, I don't have a one way or another. Rattle says some things in a way I wouldn't say them. He goes after some people in a way that I wouldn't, right? So in that way, we all disagree. I mean, I'm sure he disagrees with how I do stuff, right? But Rattle has done good for the hobby. He's called out scammers. He's made names public that you wouldn't know. And that happens on another level in all of the selling circles, if you guys didn't know. Anyone who has an experience where they get a bunch of packs and there's nothing in them, they're going to make that name known to everyone they know in every Discord, Instagram, every friend list, and they're going to get blacklisted, and no one's going to buy from that person. And so the hobby has a way of kind of sorting those people out. And, I try to buy packs from people that other people have bought from, other streamers that have got, good hits from them, or whatever it may be. And if ever it doesn't become a thing, I'll let people know. Say, hey, got scammed for these packs, refunded all the customers because they didn't get anything. And, I'm not going to use them anymore. Make sure you don't use them. And eventually it works itself out where you're not dealing with them the same way eBay and things do with their feedbacks, right? You can go to people's feedback, and if people have sold tons of pack lots and they have great feedback, oh my gosh, thanks so much, I pulled this, or oh, it was great. You know that person's a legitimate seller, because guys, at the end of the day, most people are not sitting around trying to do all these scammy things. They're just trying to buy low and sell for higher and make a margin and live their lives. That's all they're trying to do. And I understand the whole conspiracy mindset kicks in, and everyone thinks everyone's out there to scam. Dude, I'm too tired to scam people. I don't care. I just want to source my product. I want to make my content. I want to run my streams, ship my product out, and then spend my time with my wife and my friends. That's all I'm trying to do here. I mean, and a lot of people live that way too.
Yeah, I think 99.9% of people have good intentions. And the people who have bad intentions, it's not like they're running a professional racketeering business. It's these guys are flying by the seat of their pants. If there's an opportunity, they can maybe pull it off once or twice, but it doesn't last. So, I mean, I've had overall a really great experience on eBay, and all these nightmare stories of, people scamming you. Dude, I've had a few people say a plain white envelope didn't arrive, and it's yeah, you probably did. But it's, dude, you need to steal $8 from me, then you can have it. So, exactly. And it's
honestly, that still amazes me to this day, of the small amount of TCG player orders that quote unquote didn't arrive. And honestly, the way the mail is, I am inclined to believe them at this point. Maybe it didn't, right? And if I'm getting 2 out of every 100 orders or 1 out of every 100 orders doesn't arrive, it probably didn't. I'll refund you your $5, $10, $3, whatever it is, and I'll move on. Cool, we're fine.
Yeah, and like the few issues that you do have are usually something that you can address with the customer. Like,
yeah,
it's like, hey man, I sent a card out and I accidentally swapped the card, and it was like fortunately just like very similar value cards, but I'd sent like a $10 card to one guy who bought the other $10 card and vice versa. And the other guy was like, he didn't give a shit. He was like, oh, this is a great card too. I'm pumped. But the other guy like sent me a message on eBay, and I was just like, dude, I'll just slap a stamp on it, no tracking. Like, I'll just send it out to you, like take it off eBay. And then he sends me, like a good feedback with a picture of the 2 cards. And he's like, dude, outstanding. Like, I ordered a card. Now I have 2 really cool cards he didn't charge me for. He didn't put up a fight. It's like, that review goes a long way for somebody who's not outward facing. But guys like you, Brian, Dan, you guys have a presence. Retro, I mean, you guys have the out, like, people trust you. You're public with yourselves. But even when you're not, man, like most people are good. Most people who are buying Pokemon cards on eBay are just buying it for their kids or their people trying to enjoy their time off work. Like, it's been a pretty enjoyable experience this year.
Yeah, and you know what? Hats off to all the scammers that find a way. I mean, honestly, man, I would almost think they work as hard or harder than legitimate businesses do.
For sure.
I feel like you work harder doing that stuff.
And the same thing with scalpers. Like back in
and you're more stressed out all the time, thinking you're gonna get caught.
Yeah, and you're probably gonna you're gonna live a shitty life. You're gonna just be it's just like
I forget who the quote's from, but it's just like just tell the truth and you never have to remember what you said.
Yeah, and again, that's like most people, like 1 out of 1,000's not, but like most people are good people, and this hobby's like, it's a hobby. People do it because they enjoy it. So overall, man, I'm just optimistic on it.
Well, Brad wants to know, with the super chat, $5, where you located, Steve? Maybe I'll bring you some bulk. I'm a trucker.
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good on bulk. I don't do bulk. I don't have like really cheap listings for the most part. Sometimes I do, just when I break some product down. But yeah, I'm not into like the sub $5 card game really. I do a little bit of it just because I have to, like for graded misses, but I'm not a bulk guy really.
So what was give a shout out to your eBay store one more time.
Southern Lux Holdings.
Southern Lux Holdings.
Yeah, and this is the first time that
go ahead,
like,
copy paste the store, leave in the chat. I'll go ahead and make sure to pin it to the video for anybody who wants to check out Steve's store. Even though he showed only a 5% of return customers last year, maybe we can help him get that up to a higher percentage this year.
Yeah, I'll drop it in because I think on the last couple streams, people had asked for my store, and I was like, no, I'm good, man. Like, I want to do this on my own. Like, I don't want any kind of outside influence, but I feel like,
well, nobody's really watching this anyway. So
yeah.
Retro Sex says people are more mad at legitimate businesses right now than actual scammers. That's how you know it's a boom. That's funny, actually.
I'm trying to figure this out. I'm having to join the chat. So I've not even been watching the chat.
Oh, you weren't on YouTube? I got you.
No, I'm on the StreamYard thing. I'll just shoot you a message, Alex, and you can post it if you want.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, guys, just come back to the video a little later, and I'll have it all in the description, comment section and stuff. Yeah, man, I gotta get off here and eat some dinner before my stream. If you guys don't know, I'm doing a pack break stream at 7 p.m. tonight, so about a little over an hour and 45 minutes from now, and so I'll be back on screen in about another hour 45 minutes. But Steve, man, how do you want to end things, dude? What's any last minute thoughts, bro?
No, man, I just appreciate you having me on again for the third time. I think I really enjoy this. I was happy that I could bring some data in and maybe encourage some people that are thinking about starting or how to get more involved. Like, hey, man, this is not like there's not really the gatekeepers that are out there. The gatekeepers, it's not really a thing. No social media presence, no YouTube, no outward facing anything whatsoever. Just muscling through it on eBay. You can do it.
It's not even gatekeeping. Like people like Retro, doing like over 1 million last year. Brian Pokey doing like $3-4 million. Like they're not gatekeeping. It's just they're showing their results, and it just seems unattainable, right? And so for like average people, they're just like, well, yeah, he's already got big. He's got a big store, big connections, blah blah blah. And it's like, so it's good to see you starting literally from scratch, no connections, just $20,000. Which some people like, oh, just 20 grand. We'll start with just 5 grand, just 10 grand, just 2 grand. But like the fact that you can turn the money over that many times in a year, just having a little knowledge of Pokemon and buying and selling. It should at least give people like some sort of confidence to go for this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just it, man. Like if you want to do it, just do it and have fun with it. And, that was the goal. And it's in the name of the game for me. It's a trading card game. Like the way I'm approaching the business is not like a cash flow conversation. I mean, it is, but the real end goal is to take one card, turn it into 2 cards, take those 2 cards, turn it into 4 cards, 4 cards to 8 cards. Like I actually want that depth of inventory. I want those large positions. And the ultimate goal would be like, not really that I don't want to leave my career, but my goal is like, hey man, it's security in a way. It's like if I can get a business off the ground and have something that's, up there existing, if something happens, I'm in a pretty volatile industry. If something happens there, I've got something that I can pivot to that I'm not on the ground floor of. Or if, something works out really well and there is an opportunity, now my business is in the position where it's capitalized enough, I can actually go all in. That's really the goal for me, is just not to be wholly dependent on an income. So
dude,
having options as a business,
having options makes you put you in the driver's seat.
That's it, man. And being able to have options and do it in a space like this where you get to enjoy it, that's just a huge win. So I enjoy working. Like this is something that I really enjoy, obviously. So it's not all about the money. If it was all about the money, I would say like my stats for the year probably show you that it's probably not worth quitting your 9 to 5 over. But if this is something like you just enjoy in the evenings, dude, go for it.
Well, guys, I pin Steve's store at the top of the chat. If you guys want to at least click it, save it on your eBay, check him out. He's got inventory always replenishing, always keeping a steady inventory. Probably doing a better job than me at inventory management these days. I need to. I'm going to try my best in the next couple months to get everything stocked and not running out. Hopefully, as long as the USPS and UPS started agreeing with me and stopped snowing and being terrible out there.
Yeah, we got snow here in Georgia too. So.
All right, man. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. Appreciate all of you. Good luck on everyone in the hobby and their businesses, their investments, just collecting, whatever it may be. And we'll have Steve back on again in the future to talk more Pokemon.
Yeah, man. Y'all just enjoy it and have fun with it.
All right. We are out.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you, man.